Here from Lungchen, Dangchu, which is a town in the Wangdui Phodrang district in central Bhutan. Bhutan? I'm not sure where to put the lisp in there. I think it's after the B, but before the T. We'll figure it out. Anyway, we are here today with ESL Open Cup Asia Division number 227. So many of them already. I am, of course, your host, Yaku of the Zakus, and with me today is El Jugador de Bethesda que aviva a los Flamers, Light _VIP. How we doing, Light?
What's up, Yaku? It's great to be back here once again. Another week of ESL Asia, and I am happy to have you on board as well, Yaku. It's great to be back casting with you once again here. We missed out, again, you just took some time down here. We casted WTL a couple of days ago, of course. Now we're jumping right back into some Korean on Korean action.
Indeed, we are kicking off spicy with two very old timers. Here on Oceanborn, we're over here in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left, as well as on the spacebar of my keyboard. We have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea, representing Team Vitality, or Vitality Onside. We have Ryung.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Stats.
Boys.
Here we go. Yes, Stats, Ryung. Two pretty big players already facing off for the first round. I mean, that's what is brutal about this tournament, about ESL Open Cup Asia, is that you have just such high quality and high caliber players facing off so early on. There's just so many of them. Again, the bracket looking quite impressive here today.
Yeah, pretty stacked. We have a lot of players who we normally expect to show back up in ESL Open Cups. Players like Dark, players like Solar, players like Hero. But at the same time, we also have a lot of players who I feel like we haven't seen in quite some time coming back in. Of course, Rainer, since he is in Korea right now, is able to be awake and play in this tournament as well. But then we've also got a name who I have my eyes on all the way on the other side of the bracket here, like Trap. Now back out in military, competing regularly again.
Yeah, Trap, he came back a week ago, and he has been competing. He has been trying to get back up onto that horse and reclaim his throne as one of the best Protoss in the world, and we definitely have our eyes on him. It's not just Trap coming back. If you remember, Rogue came back as well. Rogue has also been competing, but I should also point out Rogue a little bit because he is not here tonight.
Yeah, which is fairly strange, to say the least. I remember back in the day before he went into military service, Rogue was somebody who we did expect quite a lot of in these open tournaments.
Yeah, he was a very active player back in the day,
yeah.
So we'll wait to see him return.
Yeah. I vaguely, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Light, but I have a vague memory of there being a stretch of, I want to say, 2 or 3 months where every finals was Rogue versus Zest.
Oh my god.
In ESL Open Cups, it was just Rogue v Zest each and every week.
I remember that being a trend for a while. I do remember that as well. And I mean, you know, Rogue is back. Yes, Zest, yet to return. I believe he's set to return in a couple of months. So, I mean, we may be back to that as well momentarily, especially with Dark's own military service kind of looming on the horizon as well. It's always looming, it's never here. It's always coming, but never does arrive. The edging is real. As we are getting into our build so far, interesting build out of Ryung, by the way. I don't know if you noticed, but he didn't go for a rack suspend economic opener, but he's following this up with a very delayed starport.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting 3 racks that we've got on our hands. We normally would expect the 3 racks to just be a little bit more rushed out of this, right? Something to hit a lot quicker, something that doesn't necessarily have to kill your Protoss opponent, but will deal enough economic damage to cripple them for round 2 when you do hit with your factory and with your starport units. But that's not quite the case with this 3 racks here with Ryung.
Yeah,
I think he's still gonna hit with his, try to hit with his bio, but I mean, at this point, Stats, apart from being the Shield of Fire, being one of the best defensive players in the world, already has already set up a pretty solid defensive position.
Yeah, so Stats did go for a more economic opener. He went 2-gate blink into a third base. We do have a scan to hunt down the Observer. Observer is shut down. I was going to say that this can lead into a 2-base all in, but we have an eBay on the way. eBay, that's going to be for +1. So Ryung's going for a later timing, as you mentioned. Stim has completed, by the way, and Ryung, he can rock up with this army. He can deal a devastating amount of damage here at this third base, and the follow-up push with Medivacs with some factory production is going to be that much stronger as well.
Indeed, it is. Ryung, though, just going to be chilling in the middle of the map with this Bioforce, keeping it somewhat hidden, but once again, just delaying his attack.
Yeah, he hasn't pulled the trigger yet, which is a little bit surprising. It's allowing Stats to build up himself. I mentioned before, but he did go for a greedy opener, so he was lacking a lot of sustain with his army, but now we have Colossus production commencing here for Stats. We have Extendable Lance, we have Charge on the way, Forge for upgrades as well, and Stats, he is not missing out on too many Warp Pins either. He does have a decent force now to defend.
Yeah, and even with half a decent force, you have to expect Stats is going to be able to defend.
We'll see though, because Ryung going for a bit of a split push. He's got a ground army moving out towards the third base. At the same time, a double jump towards the main base. Can Stats keep up? He does have Stalkers in position.
Yeah, he's already sensing what Ryung is up to. Ryung spies the Stalkers and decides it's not worth it to try to jump into the main, to try to go for this multi-prong. He still has the higher army supply, and he has a decent amount of Marauders, so he can try to get something done here with his main army.
Yeah, the Colossus is revealed, and with the revelation of the Colossus, we back off. We respect it, we retreat from here. So good defense by Stats. He doesn't take any damage whatsoever, but what I will say is that Ryung also didn't throw much away, right? He does preserve this army, and he can hit with a later timing.
Yeah, Ryung didn't commit, and because he didn't commit, he still has all of the supply left over to, like you said, go for a bit of a later timing, a much more effective timing. He really wants to go for that multi-prong.
Yeah, he's loading up for a quadruple drop here on the right-hand side. Meanwhile, behind this, we have a Ghost Academy on the way. Viking production has commenced. Now that Ryung has seen the Colossus, he knows what he needs to get into. EMPs and Vikings will help quite a lot here, and Ryung, he's not missing a beat, being active once again, moving out.
Yeah, going for another little bit of a multi-prong. Gonna be hitting into natural base with that quadruple drop. Gonna be revealing his hand a lot quicker though. Sat's very quick to react, pull back.
Yeah, very quick to react. So 2 gas guys are going to be going down. We should be able to pick up and get the hell out of here. At the same time, Ryung pushing in, going to be denying that fourth base.
Yeah, very good multi-prong coming out here from Ryung. Very good use of the choke points as well. There were a couple of moments back there where a lot of Zealots and the Stalkers were just kind of behind each other, not really able to provide any damage in that fight.
Exactly, as it looks like Ryung is going to be able to back off from here. Looking at the units lost tab, by the way, you can see that Ryung barely lost anything. He lost 3 Marines. 3 Marines and 1 Marauder went down, so very good trades here by Ryung. He got 10 worker kills and he's pulling back, but now he's triggering a counterattack.
Yeah, it is something that Stats absolutely needs to do right now, but he's not really finding an opening. Ryung still producing behind all of this, still has his reinforcements, this time reinforcements including Ghosts, which will absolutely shred through these Zealots that are going to try to buffer for the Colossus. And from there, it's not difficult for Marauders to clean up.
And here we go, we sim one forward. Again, there's not much here to protect these Colossus other than those Zealots. It's really mainly a Zealot-based army, and the Vikings going ham. 1 Colossus is going to be going down already.
Yeah, there's just not enough Stalkers on the ground, and what few Stalkers there are remaining aren't in position to deal with these Vikings. Colossus go down. There are Disruptors out now. Ryung has to be very careful about them, but I mean, suffice to say, it's a lot easier to dodge Purification Novas than it is to dodge Colossus Volleys.
Not wrong. Here we go. The first Nova goes off. Does not connect. We have 1 Nova left in the chamber here. Stats has to be very careful with that second Disruptor. We have 2 more Disruptors coming out as we speak. They are seconds away from popping out and from joining the main army. Until then, their Ryung is pushing and he lands the Vikings.
And he is finding a bit of an opening. Decent Purification Nova takes out 2 of the Ghosts, I believe, but not enough for the rest of the army. Now the Purification Nova lands right in the heart of these Marauders. And is that going to be enough? No, it will not be. GG is called, and Ryung still has more than enough bio left over to take the game number 1.
GG, well played. A solid game here out of Ryung. Really patient play as well, right? We spoke about how we expected Ryung to hit an earlier timing because he had a force, right? He had an army to make use of, but he was very patient. He held it back, waited for a later timing. He tried to hit the third base. Once he saw the Colossus, he backed off, right? He was happy to just back off, retreat, wait for a more opportune moment, and he was eventually able to pull stats apart.
Yeah, he fought against not only stats in this game, but also his neurons that were activating in his brain. The neurons that say, Colossus, target it down. Yeah, he fought against those, and like I said, just played very patient, didn't take any unnecessary risks. Even when he went for that quadruple drop, he played out very, very safe. He dropped in a position where he would be able to make use of the choke point, and the minute the Colossus showed up, the minute those zealots broke through the front line, he just picked up, retreated, focused on his other army that was hammering down the fourth base.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Ryung just making sure he would be able to pull away before things got a little bit too intense there, just preserving his units and snowballing out of control. Very nice play out of Ryung. And now we're getting into game number 2. Ryung one game away from just winning it all and shutting Stats down. And again, I'll be honest, coming into this, I did kind of like Stats' position. He's been looking pretty impressive, especially in the most recent season of GSL, even the season before that as well. Like, Stats has been popping off, but Ryung showing us, or at least our Terran player showing us, that he is still a force to be reckoned with.
Indeed he is, and he is going to be spawning here on Ghost River, where over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right, we have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. We have the Tuna Terran himself representing Vitality on side. We have Ryung.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself, currently teamless, still an amazing player, looking to bounce back and force the ace match. It is Stats.
It feels so good to say out an intro.
Yeah, it feels so good not to be rushed. To say my piece, yeah, to pace it well, you know, to build it up, to, you know, just say where exactly they are on the map, you know, where in the top right hand corner, just so you know, because otherwise you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
Yeah, all the way in that top right hand corner on Ghost River.
It's good, yeah. Just saying, WTL production team, you know, maybe give people more time to introduce players. Maybe.
Potentially.
But we are settling in here. Ryung going for a different opener, by the way. Winding it back in game 1, he went for a Rax Expand economic opener. This time, double gas opener instead out of Ryung. So he's going for a faster factory, and this would usually lead into a faster starport as well. So straight up a different build from Ryung, but based on the map, I mean, this does make sense.
Yeah, Ghost River has a much shorter rush distance than Oceanborn. On Oceanborn, you know, you can hang back, you can afford to be a little bit more patient, be a little bit more, what's that word I'm thinking of here, like, tentative with when you decide to pull the trigger. On Ghost River, no such luxury. It is so short and so fast that not only will attacking be a lot more effective, which is why, you know, as a Terran player especially, that's usually what you want to do, but it also prompts the Protoss players to play it out a lot more defensively.
Exactly.
To get their fortifications set up faster.
Yeah, which is why, like, stats should also be adjusting as well. It's going to be another Twilight Council opener. This should be for Blink. If you remember last game, the stats went for 2-gate Blink into a third. Would not be surprised if he invests into a couple more gateways here on Ghost River instead. You know, 3 gateways at least, just to be that much more safer and secure. As Ryung has not... oh, okay, thank God. I was like, has he expanded? We have a CC on the high ground, not on the low ground.
Yeah, I guess when we think of Ghost River, we normally think of Terran players being very aggressive and hitting timing attacks, but let's not forget, Protoss players can be a little bit cheeky in the early game too, so Ryung not taking anything for granted, still playing this out as safe as possible.
Oh yeah, exactly. Just going to take his natural pace a little bit slower, but as you mentioned, a little bit safer as well. Behind this, getting into a second and a third rank, so his overall kind of end game is going to be the same as game one, where he has the same production setup here, 3-1-1 setup for a mass amount of bio for a pretty powerful eventual stim timing. This time though, he's getting to very early tank production.
Yeah, safety tanks going to be coming down. Well, safety tanks for now. Eventually, they're going to be using the push. But yeah, Ryung does go for it, does scout, does see the production of stats, and decides that, you know what? You could still try to apply pressure with these stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, with the Reaper movements, we have confirmed 2 gateways on low ground, the gateway on the high ground, so it's going to be 3-gate blink. As we mentioned, this is going to be a bit of a more aggressive opener here from stats compared to the previous game. But honestly, with this early tank production, this looks like, I know I mentioned it in the previous game, how these 3-1-1 setups can lead into 2 base all-ins, and it would make that much more sense on a map like this as well, where Ryung is going to have an even more potent force here. Remember, in game 1, there were no tanks involved at all. Here in game 2, I mean, we have plenty of them.
Indeed, we do. I'm keeping my eyes on the production tab. If we ever see a starport, I think that will be the indication that he doesn't have to go all in, but so long as we don't see one, it 100% is going to have to be pull the boys and hope for the best.
Oh yeah, exactly. Stats, he's taking his third base, so it's going to be 3-gate blink into an expand. He does have the stalkers out on the map to at least slow down the army to scout his opponent. With his high ground vision, we can even blink into the main, but we have a tank in position to defend said main base. 2 tanks even in the main. Up!
2 tanks in the main, 1 in the natural. I don't think Stats actually saw those tanks, however. Ryung definitely saw the observer, scanned, took it out. Stats in a little bit of a moment where he had to make a decision, blinked up into the main and got a face full of tank fire.
Oh yeah, the tank volleys were insane, but we do reinforce and we're going on in. Meanwhile, at the same time, Ryung was in the midst of pushing out.
Yeah, unfortunate timing here for Ryung. Very good timing here for Stats. We'll be able to force about half of Ryung's army to stay back at home.
Yeah, exactly. Even though Stats also an observer, he has a backup observer already on the main army, and that means that Stats, he can blink back into the main base. This may force an all-in here. Ryung, does he turn around? The boys are being pulled!
Oh, not too many of them. Yeah, in fairness. It's more of boys that are going to be building bunkers and repairing as well. A couple more boys being pulled to deal with the stalkers at home. That warps in a lot more stalkers for defense. 1 tank already going down, 2 tanks as well, but it may be just too much firepower here for Ryung. He is going to be able to kill this 3rd base, but where does he go from here? Stats still killing a lot of SCVs on the other side of the map. 21 of them going down. Ryung has no intention of mining anymore.
Yeah, and Stats, he recalls back home, and he has a good defensive setup. He has a shield battery, he has an overcharge. To be fair, overcharge was just spent at the 3rd base, so it's on cooldown, but we have an immortal as well, and Ryung backs off. I would have assumed that he would have tried to go for the kill and go for the natural, but no, it looks like he wants to try to retreat and recover, but Ryung has some catching up to do here, as he is down to 32 workers.
Yeah, 32 versus the 44 of Stats. Doesn't have a 3rd base as well behind all of this to try to make up for it, to try to outproduce Stats when it comes to the number of workers. He has mules, which is something.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Ryung, he does have mules available, but this army from Stats is getting better and better, not just with Immortals, but now with our first Colossus. Extendable Lance is in production as we speak, +1 upgrades as well. Stats' army is getting better and better. Ryung, we may just have to build up towards another 2-base all-in where we pull the boys for a 2nd time.
Yeah, we shall see. He is still being very active on this map. Yeah, going to be pushing out once again, this time with +1. And soon to be concussive shells, but Stats, of course, already scouts this. Ryung's medevacs are so low on energy.
Yeah, exactly. They've already done so much keeping this army topped up. More medevacs are arriving. The tank does siege. Only 2 tanks this time with the main army of Ryung, so he doesn't have as much to break through. But this army here from Stats not looking too potent yet. It's only 1 Colossus. Ryung might be able to force his way towards that base.
Yeah, he's gonna need to try. He's gonna need to try to do anything to keep Stats, to slow down Stats' economy, keep him at bay.
Yeah, the Observer behind the army here. The scan just barely out of range, barely does miss it. It's still reinforcing with additional units. Again, you can see they're trying to bait out the army within range of the tank fire.
Yeah, and just a decent setup here for Bryung. Got a nice little spread with his bio. Takes her in a pretty good position, but here comes the army of Stats about to collapse. Thorbalets did finish up. Zealots do jump right on top of the tanks, and there's not enough bio to keep them alive. Colossus barely take any damage. GG is called, and Stats is going to be able to tie up our series sideways 1-1.
GG, well played. We are going to that ace match. We're going all the way here to game number 3. Again, Ryung, he wasn't looking too bad in how he was approaching that game, don't get me wrong, but unfortunately, because Stats had vision of the main base with the backup observer, he saw the move outs time and time again, and Stats punished him so hard for that.
Indeed, he did. He just had full vision. He knew exactly when and where he needed to flank. I was half expecting Ryung, after taking out that third base, to just go home and turtle up. Try to get a third base and turtle up, right? Because that's something that he's kind of been known for in the past. You know, when he is behind, especially in TVP, he's really good at just dropping it or turtling back home and then relying on drop play to try to keep pressure on his opponents. But instead, Ryung decided to go for a second push or a third push. Another push after his initial push got deflected, and as we can see, that's exactly what Stats wanted. That's playing exactly into Stats' own strengths.
Yeah, exactly. He saw the army coming ahead of time. He was able to prepare himself for that final push as well, and yeah, Stats handled himself quite impressively in game number 2, and now it all comes down to the ace match.
It is. This is why we were so excited to get into this match as a starter. And here we go to decide who is going to move forward to face, I believe it is Dark?
Yep.
Yes, to face Dark after this. We're on Site Delta, where we're in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Spawning all the way in the bottom right, we have our red Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. Is of course going to be representing Vitality on side, the Tuna Terran himself. We have Ryung.
And
Clem Crusher.
He is, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent, not quite Clem, but we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing himself, forcing that ace match. Can he go the distance? Can he make it into the next round? It is Stats.
Map, a series really that could absolutely go either way. I think both players are a little bit worried of what's to come after this match, but for right now, everything's just on the line. This is all they can really focus on.
Exactly. It's all on the line right now. Stats and Ryung, the tournament life, we should say, as it is single elimination. You know, there is no double, there's no lower bracket here that can save you. There's no safety net. It's all or nothing here in the ESL Open Cups. It is brutal in that sense. I mean, to be fair, a lot of these tournaments, a lot of StarCraft is brutal in general here, and one of these players is going to have to bow out in the first round, which is crazy. Again, caliber of play here, quite high.
Indeed. My so far are going to be a little bit more on Ryung here. You know, we went from a pretty standard map in Oceanborn to a very short rush map in Ghost River into something a little bit in between now on Site Delta. So I have to wonder if he's still going to go for that pseudo 3-1-1 style that we saw in Game 1 and Game 2. Or is he going to completely switch things up entirely? Stats so far in the series, I think, has been playing a little bit more reactive. You know, he had a bit more of an aggressive style on Ghost River, or rather a bit more of an aggressive setup on Ghost River with 3 gates, but so far in the series, it's just been Blink, it's just been reacting to what Ryung has been throwing his way.
Yeah, right. Like stats, he did go for 3-gate blink in the previous game, so he went for a more aggressive variation, and he was able to do quite well with it. But as you mentioned, a lot of it did come down to the map as well. So we'll keep an eye on stats to see if he does deviate. Meanwhile, Ryung is switching it up. This time, it is going to be a 1-1-1. No additional racks.
Mind drop. Let's go.
Let's go.
You know, I feel like a lot of Protoss players they underestimate the power of the mind drop just because it got nerfed.
Yeah, and to be fair, I actually haven't seen a mind drop in TVP in a couple of weeks. Like, unironically, it is a build that has kind of fallen out of fashion and fallen out of favor for good reason, right? It was nerfed, and because that feels like a lot of Terran players are deviating away from that opener, but Ryung is whipping it out once again.
Yeah. Does not surprise me one bit. I believe Maru went for something similar. It wasn't the classic mind drop or a mind drop that we know and love that he went for the other day, but it was still a medevac with mines in it to try to scout his opponent and potentially deal damage. I don't remember if he was successful with that drop, but still. Ryung and Maru, the Terran brothers, they are keeping the mind drop alive.
They are, and here we go, the medevac heading towards that main base. Behind this, we're going for the rest of our racks set up here into our eventual 3-1-1. And in the main base, stats is set up. We have 2 Stalkers here at the natural. We have 2 Stalkers in the main base as well. How welcome we react, though.
Yeah, stats very quick to pull the probes. Looked a little bit dicey for a second as they were all lining up. But for the most part, he is going to be fine.
Yeah, it looks like 1 Stalker goes down in the main base, 1 Probe goes down at the natural, but the Widowmine's going to be cleaned up. At the same time, how many gateways? 2 gateways done, 2 more gateways on the way. This time it's going to be 4-gate blink out of stats. He still is expanding and taking a 3rd base, but he has a lot of production available here to be that much more aggressive on site Delta.
Yeah, he's just going to continue to be warping in, and if an opening presents itself, you have to expect stats to jump on top of it.
You do have to expect it here. Stats is going to be moving out across map. Blink is about to finish up. Meanwhile, back at home, what do we have to defend? Ryung, no tank production yet. Bunker not quite done either.
This bunker is very late here coming out from Ryung. And Stats has full eyes on it. Does have that Observer Siege in position, a very good position, where Ryung shouldn't be able to really chase it away without getting any air units.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be difficult to really engage with. Second Observer has arrived as well behind this, so we're not going to be reinforcing with a Warp Prism. We do have an army, don't get me wrong, and the goal here is to delay any kind of push or to contain Ryung as we build up towards Colossus and Charge Lords.
A very potent, specifically anti-Terran, anti-Marine army composition coming out here from Stats. Very strong defensive, very strong defensive unit composition with those Colossus, but of course, since you're getting charge, the minute you're able to defend against your Terran opponent's push, you have a very, very short, that's what I'm thinking of here, like, you have a very, it doesn't take you too long to counterattack, is what I'm trying to get at.
Short window of opportunity.
No. That window of opportunity is pretty large, but you don't have to wait too long to get on top of it. You have a short wait period to go for the counterattack. Refractory period, if you will.
There you go, and we'll see if Ryung can try to break out, try to break free, and even take a third base. Third CC is going to be thrown down on the high ground. We do have a drop waiting outside the main, but Stats is in position, does have a warp in ready for this, and yeah, Ryung will not find a way in, at least not into the main.
Yeah, not in the main yet, as he is moving out with his other army. Ryung, he's been really liking these multi-prong harasses, or multi-prong pushes, I should say, throughout the series.
Have a blast.
Yeah, he really has. And the Observer is going to spot the army. Ryung, I believe, sorted the Observer with the Raven, but he has to pull back. You can see Stats keeping up with the rotations here of Ryung. Likewise, Ryung trying to maybe even sandwich this army as well. Has to be careful. He does have Disable, so this first Colossus isn't really too threatening to Ryung. Not yet.
Yeah, but when that second Colossus pops out,
then things
that's when you have to be worried.
Yo, Stats with these Observer positions are brutal, by the way. He once again sees the reinforcements. He knows, he's aware of how large the army is. Now we're pushing in. And how good are the tables? We do get both Colossus.
We got both Colossus. Mine not quite able to land in the center of these Zealots. It will finally pop off. About half of the Zealots have been taken out, but they have bought more than enough time for the Disable to run out for these Colossus to get to everything. Really good mine shot here from Ryung. But once again, it's not quite going to be enough for him to keep this push going.
Yeah, exactly. Has to retreat. Ooh, big snipe here on the Raven as well. The Observer does survive, and Stats just chasing Ryung all the way back home. Ryung is going to be reinforcing, this time with Vikings, though.
Yeah, and this is exactly what we were talking about earlier on. When you get charged, when you focus on both Colossus and charge, you can counterattack pretty much immediately.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing we're missing here is a War Prism, right? A War Prism to reinforce on the front lines, and Stats can commit. Scan shuts down the Observer at least, so Stats has to retreat for now, but oh my god, again, he's so quick to replace those Observers. Always has one in the back line ready to replace, ready to move in.
Yeah, he's even getting a second Robo, so he can produce 2 Observers now.
That's why. It's all about that vision, all about those Observers. Stats, he's going to retreat for now. I do like that he's not overextending, waiting for his Robo production and his eventual Disruptors, I imagine, to come out. Meanwhile, Ryung thankfully maintains his economy. He's on 3 bases, he's got a comparable worker count with his opponent, and he's working towards Vikings and Ghosts.
Yeah, the next phase here of a Terran army. Just kind of biding his time, just kind of waiting for his upgrades to hit. I just realized that Ryung only now is getting an armory, so yeah, that's rough. 2-2 is going to be super delayed. Stats is already going to have +2 and +1 armor before Ryung can even start researching 2-2.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that was a bit of a misstep there by Ryung. On top of that, as he moves out with his drop towards the left-hand side, the main army, there's an Observer also parked on top of it. We see everything. We have an Observer here on the right-hand side as well. Stats is moving in. His army is spotted, though, by the Widowmine. Ryung is aware.
Yeah. Who needs Observers when you have mines?
True. From their Stats is going to have to back off. He gets scanned on, of course. Ryung likewise pulling back as well. There's a lot of positional play going on right now, but Stats is about to max out. Spats, that's another player. That's...
Oh, I miss Spats, yeah.
Smooch.
Oh, the German bros. But yeah, a lot of positional play happening coming down. Both players trying to outmaneuver the other. Ryung getting his 4th base. Who needs Observers when you can throw down Pylons, is what Sat says. Unfortunately, Pylons are a little bit more fragile.
Yeah, the drop was spotted. Stats pushes in. Thankfully, Ryung is in position, so he has enough here to fend Stats off. He does rotate back over with the rest of his army, and what's important here is that Stats has been maxed out for quite some time. He hasn't been able to break Ryung, and Ryung, likewise, is maxing out himself.
Yeah, only 10 supply away. This is kind of what I expected from Ryung on Ghost River. After being pushed back the first time, just defend, and maybe go for some drops as well. You know, who needs Observers when you have sensor towers, is what I say. So Ryung on the minimap can see the movement of Stats' army, knows exactly where it's positioned, can try to go for a bit of a sandwich, I suppose. Does he want to engage the main army? Well, I guess he kind of has to at this point. Or he feels like he has to at this point.
Yeah, he's poking in, almost does get the Disruptor as well. Stats has to pull back. Behind this, he's mass expanding, by the way. Stats is on 3, 4, 5, soon to be 6 bases here. A mass, or just a solid economy here from Stats. And Ryung has been unable to touch the bases or the workers here of Stats this entire game. Has been pinned back at home, but he's just waiting for his opportune moment here to collapse on the army.
Yeah, indeed he is. Word here now for Ryung. Stats is expanding exponentially. Ryung is keeping up somewhat, but Stats, you know, he's already amassing a bank. Sure, he's maxed out. He can't quite transition to anything else just yet, but there we go. Already, Stargate on the way, researching +1. He doesn't need to get his carriers and his Tempest and his fleet beacon units out now. He just needs to get production for them, and then eventually switch.
Yeah, he's ready for that tech switch. Meanwhile, Nova going to be going off. Good splits here out of Ryung. He does avoid most of it. Good EMPs as well. Vikings going ahead. We take down the Colossus, and the second Colossus is going to be falling as well.
Just like so, Vikings will land as well. Good splits coming out from Ryung. Stats still getting a couple of units here and there with his Purification Novas, but they have not been super efficient, to say the least. Ryung going to completely smash through this army, and he is going to continue pushing. Stats, on the other hand, has so much production. 12 Zealots now on the way. Are they going to be enough to stop this momentum that Ryung has built up, though?
That's a question. Good splits once again. Ryung avoiding most of these Novas, but we can't avoid all of them. They will eventually connect, and Ryung has to load up. He has to get the hell out of here. Stats does hold on. His army is low tier, though. I mean, he has no more Colossus. He has mainly Zealots. The Disruptors do pose a big threat. That's going to be 6 Disruptors here for Stats, and Ryung has not hit limited production yet. He's working on it. 4 libs are on the way.
Slowly but surely. A lot of Purification Novas here. You know, Ryung has been swinging pretty well against them, but after a while, you just run out of space to pull back to split away from. Stats doesn't have that much anti-air here, so I guess Ryung is relying a bit more on juggling. But Stats is already pretty much doubling the army supply of Ryung, and keep in mind, a lot of Ryung's army supply right now is in these medevacs. And medevacs don't hit, don't deal damage.
Hey,
in fact, they do the opposite.
They do not, and GG gets caught. Stats overwhelms Ryung, breaks through that third base. GG, and Stats will take the series 2-1, advancing on into the round of 16.
Up. My earbuds are connected still somehow. I need to turn off Bluetooth.
Where is it? Where is it? Oh!
Oh. Yeah. GG. Nicely done here from Stats.
Yeah, GG, well played. I mean, Ryung was holding his own to get us wrong, but unfortunately that limited production was a little bit too little too late. Would have been amazing to have had them reinforcing and a part of the second wave of the army, but they just weren't there in time, and with those Zealot reinforcements, with the Disruptors, more importantly, Stats was able to break through. Was a pretty tense back and forth there between the two players, but again, Stats, with his economy, with his bank, was too much to handle.
Yeah, way too much. I think you mentioned it in the game itself, but I do think it has to be stated once again. The absolute MVP in that game for Stats were those Observers.
Mm-hmm.
They were absolutely key in Stats being able to catch all of these drops and these movements coming out from Ryung. I mean, Ryung, after his first timing got deflected, was going to do what Ryung does best, which is hang back, defend, and then go for drops to harass, but because of all these Observers that Sats had, he was able to catch these drops each and every time they were moving out, and Ryung really wasn't able to get anything done with them. And like you said, by that point, by the time Ryung was able to max out and was able to break free from that contain that Stats was setting up for him, he already had a lot of production, he already had a huge bank, he was able to just reinforce, halt Ryung's momentum, and then just keep the counter push going.
Yeah, just kept it going, and congratulations. My condolences to Ryung. Again, he did have a great showing here, you know, taking it to Stats, but in the end, his run does end here in the first round. And if you look at the screen now, we have our next matchup. We have our PvZ, Stats versus Dark.
Indeed, we do. Very formidable opponent on our hands. This is part of why we wanted to jump into this match. You know, Stats versus Ryung. We knew it was going to be very close. We knew it was going to be two very high-tier players, but now we're getting to a third high-tier player of a third race.
Ooh, exactly. You know, it's not just about the Protoss and the Terran. We have a Zerg player as well. Before that, as we have a little bit of downtime here, we can take this moment to have a look at the bracket and to just go over all the updates, all the matches, try to get a read on what this tournament is looking like.
Indeed, we can. Looking at how a lot of our matches went, it looks like Firefly did defeat his opponent, Mushahid. Oh no, that was a bit of a walkover going on there, but Oliveira did defeat his opponent, Dusty, 2-0, so currently Firefly and Oliveira are duking it out. The winner of that will face the winner of Dark versus Stats in our quarterfinal. So it looks like we have things pretty much lined up here for us, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond also beat Rex 2-0, and so will be in the other quarterfinal, facing either Rainer, Fork, or Shin in a most likely a TBZ.
Mhm.
Su 2-0 Solar.
Oh my god.
That is hype. Su has been doing fantastically well so far. I mean, he had a really good GSL. He had a really good GSL group the other week where he was able to defeat Gumiho and was able to defeat Gumiho twice in that bracket, and so was able to make it out of his group. But to defeat Solar, who is considered to be one of, if not the best ZVZ player in the world, that's hype. Su is looking to be a little bit back in form, looking to be a little bit back in, kind of that 2017, 2018 form where Su was, I think, considered to be without a doubt the best ZVZ player and one of the top 3, sometimes even top 2 Zerg players in the world. At times, the best Zerg player in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a crazy result. I mean, again, Solar is in shape right now. He's in form. Like Solar, he is one of the best players in the world right now. So for Su to 2-0 Solar, and of course he got the walkover of DRG in the first round, is very impressive, and that is a big upset here in the bracket.
Yeah, I don't care what Crank's thumbnails say. Solar is at the top right now. His stonks are not dropping. Well, maybe they do drop now after Su just beat him.
Maybe. We also have Creator versus Classic currently ongoing. We have Hero still waiting for Trapper versus Bunny. And Nightmare versus Gumiho has begun as well. But now we can focus on our own series. Now we can focus on our round of 16 match.
Indeed, we can. It is going to be a bit of a PBZ on our hands. Kicking off on Ghost River, which is a surprising first map, to say the least. In the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left of Ghost River, we have our red Zerg player. Going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Daddy Dark.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player who just took down Ryung 2-1. It is Stats. But I could be mistaken, but I think have you actually casted Dark since he became a puppy? Has it happened?
I have not.
Ah, there you go. He's a dad now.
It's my fear of dads. Got in the way.
Oh, I see. I understand. Oh god, but yeah, Dark, of course, relatively recently, as of a month, 2 months ago at most, is now a father, is now a dad. Bappy, if you will.
Indeed. Yeah. Bappy, if you will. I believe the theory is that his kid is going to grow up to become Diva from Overwatch.
True, there you go. Confirmed. Yeah, it's I remember at the time, it really puts things into perspective, just how long StarCraft has been around, how long it's been in esports, and how players, a lot of these Korean players as well, a lot of them have already conducted their military service. They've come back from the military service, and they're getting now with a family, I should say, right? Like, it's Dark, Hero, and Solar that come to mind. They're all married. They all have partners, and Dark is the first of, I'm sure, many to now start a family of his own and have a kid.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's a pretty cute announcement tweet that he put out as well, where it's like, yes, my spawning pool is now replenished or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was cute. It was very
like,
cute.
we have our little Zergling.
Do love to see it.
Like, spawning pool has been built. Something like that.
Yeah, definitely check out Dark social media if you want some updates on that. But yeah, it's really cool to see. But of course, Dark on that grind set is going to be competing as often as much as he can, at least until his military service does come around. And so far, going for a standard build.
Yeah. How does it work in Korea? Can you delay it further if you become a dad?
I don't think that's how it works. Unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, at least it's happening early on, and it is going to be a shame that Dark is going to be a little bit preoccupied with military service. as his newborn, you know, is just now entering the world, but then he'll be back. He'll be back and be able to take care of the Zergling.
Yeah. Gotta research metabolic boost for it.
There you go.
Make sure that it has the speed.
Exactly, as we do have, again, a standard opener from Stats as well. We were talking about these standard openers. Dark does go for a very fast Roach Warren. This was around a 3-minute 30 Roach Warren timing very early on. You would not get it this early unless it was against a Blinkstalker-based build or something like a Twilight Council opener. We can see this in standard play out of Stats, so Dark is going for some aggression, going for a push.
Which, you know, which makes sense. We are on Ghost River, so he might as well try to get something done here. Stats is getting a third base behind this. He is also focusing on his Oracle production, which is going to be absolutely key to defend, specifically against the Zerglings. But we'll see how they really fare against these roaches coming his way.
Exactly. We have 5 roaches in production. The queens are already starting to walk across the map. Again, it's going to be a roach queen all in. You may be thinking, wait, there's no dropper lords with this. There's no Nidus all in. No. On Ghost River, you can just walk across the map. We catch the oracles. Up.
And one of them will not quite go down. Whew. Such an important thing to keep alive now for Stats.
Yeah, it does barely survive. Back at home, we can set up some stasis traps. We can, of course, use the Pulsar Beam as well. Lings, they do get eyes on the Adepts. We're trying to transition into a Twilight Council to a Forge, but this third base is going to be going down. The question becomes, can Dark get more than just a third?
Well, he's going to try to go for a wall, but it is a wall. So Dark decides not to go for any unnecessary risks. Might as well go for this third base, which is a lot more exposed. Not the greatest link count in the world, but of course, all they really need to do right now is buffer, keep the queens, and keep the Ravagers alive.
Yeah, the ideal would be if the army does overextend, that we can lock down the army and then bile down the Adepts as well, and just gets just the absolute value. And here we go for the surround.
That's the surround we were talking about. No biles necessary, as yeah, it looks like there is enough. They were far away from the shield battery. Battery overcharge wasn't available to help. More reinforcing links are coming into position, and it looks like Stats has overextended just 1 foot too far.
And the wall is not a wall. We flood on into the natural base. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1.
Just like so. Very quick game on a very short map. Dark almost breaking 500 APM, by the way. That's how fast that game was.
Yeah, GG, well played again. Dark just throwing down that fast Roach one, committing into a Roach Link Queen all in. And unfortunately, Stats, it did take him a little bit too long to kind of piece together what was happening. On top of that, really late reactions. I mean, I say late reactions. The problem is that you have even less time to react on a map like Ghost River.
Yeah, the reaction was about the correct time. It's just that, you know, on Ghost River, you need to adjust for distance.
Yeah, exactly. It's that much more unforgiving, and just like that, Dark already with the lead in this series, and now we're getting into game number 2. We're going to be loading into Alkione, a much larger map. This should be leading into a longer game, but we'll see if that's going to be the case. So I'm sure Stats wants a longer game. Dark, he wants to get this over and done with as quickly as possible.
Yeah, he's got a newborn he has to take care of.
Yeah. Gotta feed the baby.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go. And I mean, personally, I'm hoping for a longer series. I'm hoping for more back and forth. I don't think that we really got to sink our teeth into Stats too much that last game. Like, again, he can definitely take it to Dark. He has beaten Dark in the past, but he needs to get into the mid game. He needs to get into his game to make that happen.
Indeed, pretty consistently as well.
Yeah.
Back when Stats was at his peak, there was a little bit of a mini rivalry going on there, but regardless, we are gonna potentially reignite the rivalry here on Alkione. We're over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's of course going to be representing Talon Esports, and as Steel in the chat is saying, not just a new father, but potentially the Dark Vader.
The Dark Father. Oh my god.
Oh.
But here we go. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss. Can he bounce back in this series? He's down, but he's not out. Not yet. It is Stats.
I can absolutely visualize Dark saying, "I am your father," to his kid.
Oh god, he's gonna scar that poor child.
I can absolutely visualize that as well, because I remember I think it was last season of GSL, in the, they behind the scenes kind of stuff they do, the interviews, one of the questions they posed was, who do you think would be the best father? Who do you think would be the worst father? Dark got 0 votes for best father.
Oh my god.
And I think it was Solar or Creator who said that he would be a bad father.
Oh, we got some beef starting up. We got some beef, Pappy. Oh my god.
That was funny to me at the time.
Let's get our revenge. That's I think what's funny about that is I would not be surprised if they were fully aware that Dark was expecting, right? Like, I would not be surprised if that was that it was a little bit more tongue in cheek in that way, where they said that intentionally, just because he was about to be a father.
I think that's what it was. Yeah,
because I know that, like,
Dark surprisingly didn't vote for himself.
Because I know that, like, the community, especially the international community, we of course weren't really aware that Dark was soon to be a father, but I'm pretty sure the Korean scene was a lot more in touch with that, and a lot more aware, especially the players.
Yeah, I imagine so. Dark, not really one to post a lot on social media, but in real life amongst the Koreans when he's actually talking to them, he's not really one who I can imagine keeps big things like this secret.
Yeah, for sure. But speaking of the keeping things secrets, we'll see if Dark does go for another hidden tech structure early on, and if he gets away with it, or we'll see if he does have a different strategy here in store for us. We're already loading into Alkyone. This time we have not rushed into the gold base. Dark, it has not been uncommon for Dark to rush into this gold and go for an all-in, but he's taken a much more standard base instead.
Yeah, I mean, it can serve as a little bit of launchpad as our game continues, but he's saturating it. He is actually looking to mine from it, so I have to imagine we will be getting our longer game that we were hoping for.
I hope so. For now, we've reached the 3-minute 30 mark. By this point in the previous game, we would have already seen a Roach Warren. There is no Roach Warren yet, so we can see that Dark is happily droning, keeping up with the Adepts, and making sure that he's able to punish any kind of committed shade. Likewise, Stats opening up Aura.
Yeah, nice and standard. Aura being very active with his first Oracle. Tanking quite a lot of hits. Not something we normally expect from Stats, who is kind of known for having precise control over his oracles.
Yeah, you saw there just a little bit of mismovement from Stats. Took some extra hits, but he at least keeps the Oracle alive. We'd have a second Oracle coming out as well, but there's only been one drone kill so far. We're looking for more economic damage.
Anything to slow Dark down. Gets a tumor, which is something. Not the first tumor, though, so it's not going to result in an insta-GG.
Unfortunately not, as the Queens are a little bit out of position. We do manage to get in. 3 drones go down. Not a bad pickoff here from Stats. He will escape with his oracles. They get quite low, but they do manage to get away.
Yeah, and surviving is all that matters, really. An Oracle can regain its shield. It's going to meet up with the third Oracle, and it can get something done when Stats eventually decides to jump back in.
Yeah, definitely. As we're taking additional gases, Lair is on the way. Fast Lair here from Dark Revelation is going to get eyes on this as well. So I'm sure Stats is going to be getting ready back at home. There's an Overlord in position, but I believe Dark should just be droning from here. What I'm interested by is that we have yet to throw down a Roach Warren. Right now, it's only Link production here. This could be for either Spire play or Hydra play.
Yeah, we're going to keep our eyes glued to that production tab. We're going to see if any more simulators do get thrown down. Lair this early on, like you said, is going to be either Hydra play or Spire play. And there's a Hydra then. There's +1 range. I was holding out a little bit of hope here, Light, that I was going to go into this whole thing where it's like, yeah, typically it would be Hydra or Spire. But Knowing Dark, you could also just be Lingbane into Ultra.
Oh, yeah. True.
Yeah, it's not going to be the case this time, though.
Not this time, but you're not wrong. Dark, he does like to do that, especially on larger maps like Alkione as well. So I'm sure we'll keep an eye on that idea, especially coming into potentially a longer run. For now, though, we do have the Overseer scouted to the main, getting a full scout. We do get eyes on gateways, on the tech, the bay is on the way. So now Dark knows that Colossus are on the horizon.
Yeah, gets a full scout, knows that he can't fully rely on just Lings and just Hydras as well. Dark, very quick to throw down the Lurker Den, very quick to throw down the Infestation Pit behind us as well. Stats playing very safe, but I think by now he's kind of realized, okay, there hasn't been any pressure applied on me. Dark hasn't tried to move out in the map yet. Something is going on, and I need to stop whatever it is that he's doing.
Exactly. Like, the problem right now for Stats is he is playing safe, and that means that Dark, he's getting away with teching, right? We're teching up so quickly here, not just into Hydras, but into Lurkers, into Hive tech, into upgrades, into Vipers as well. There we go. The Hive is now in production as we speak. It is spotted by the Revelation, but this does mean that by the time Stats, if he waits for like a critical mass of Colossus, by then it will be too late.
Yeah, too late, too little, too dead, too leaked. Other side of Dark anyway.
You had another one in you.
Too little, too late, too leaked,
Okay.
too lemon.
Too dark.
Too dark.
There you go. As here we go. We do see Stats moving out with this first Colossus. I like this a lot more, as we mentioned. If we waited for like 2 or 3 Colossus, then it may just, you know, be too much time here for Dark to tech up and get into his army of choice. So we see Stats poking at least a little bit here. Temple Archives behind this is going to be for Storm, for Archon production as well. Second rover for double rover production, of course. But again, as Stats is getting into all of this tech, we are massing up more Lurkers.
Yeah, Stats has been kind of active on the map with his Stalkers, clearing up a couple of creep tumors here and there, but eventually turned back around and hasn't really decided to keep going. Which I guess is the right call. You don't want to be in the middle of the map, leaving your Colossus and stuff exposed, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping that we see something like a Warp Prism pretty soon, and Stats continuing to harass with his Oracles and potentially with a couple of Zealots. Anything he can do, really, to try to apply some pressure on Dark.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll see if that's going to be the case. Dark, meanwhile, he has map control. He's spreading creep freely throughout the map. In most sections of the map, I should say. The Lurker count is getting higher and higher. Nidus Worm is on the way. We do have vision in the main with this Overseer, by the way, so we can go for the Nidus into that main mineral line. Likewise, we are throwing out Changelings, trying to get vision here on every other base, if at all possible.
Yeah, Dark kind of pulling a bit of a Stats here, in that he is getting full vision on the map right now. Or full vision everywhere that's relevant.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the links here towards the right-hand side. We had links towards the left. They were cleaned up. We have the Changeling here in the center. And there's that Nidus Storm right into the main base. Thankfully, there is a cannon in position.
Yeah, cannon itself not going to be enough to clean this up, though, so we do see a quick little warp in of Stalkers. We'll be able to deal with that. We'll be able to clean out the Overseer as well. No more Niduses in the main base. Not for a while, anyway. Dark, he's fine with that, though. He's just happily expanding, getting a gold base, and yeah, teching up even harder.
Oh. Yeah, taking up into double Spire here. That's going to be for a greater Spire and eventually a Broodlord transition. Likewise, we have an Ultra Cavern as well. Dark, he's just throwing down every tech structure he could ever need in this game. With a double Spire as well, if Stats goes into Sky Toss, then he will have a response to it.
Yeah, the correct response as well. You have Spine Force here right outside the space. That's a lot of Lurkers, and that's a tiny, tight choke point.
And Stats, he's aware, he sees the choke point, he backs the hell up. He cannot push into all these Lurkers, will retreat, and Dark he has held. Stats is maxed out, so is Dark. Unfortunately, Stats is maxed out with a ground-based army. Now, to be fair, if he can outposition Dark, this army can get a lot of damage done. But if Dark is able to keep up with these rotations, if he's able to keep up with his Viper movement as well, then Dark can pick this army apart.
If. Say Dark is maxed out, but surprisingly enough, he's actually stuck on 180 supply. He's not making overlords.
Yeah, this is a really weird supply block here out of Dark. I just assumed he would have broken out of it by now, but no, he's still stuck here at 20 supply behind, which is pretty significant here. So hopefully Dark can make some overlords soon, as he has not made an overlord in quite some time. And here comes the Fleet Beacon.
Yeah, this supply block is actually giving Stats quite a lot of time. Dark now getting 9 overlords, but I feel like Stats hasn't given enough breathing room. He's going to push into this base, has to retreat once all these lurkers burrow. So he has to retreat, but I guess not. Stats proving that you don't have to if you have good enough storms and positioning with your Colossus.
I mean, the storms, they've been pretty juicy. They've been pretty good here for Stats. He will pull back, reinforcing here on the front lines, trying to force the issue, but he is running out of storms. He does have to be careful here. Meanwhile, we do see no carrier production yet from Stats, just doubling down on Immortals, and he was able to successfully outposition Dark, but those spines are being rebuilt.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have a huge bank and not enough spare supply. Decent fungal on this High Templar, but it's not quite... There's really no units that can really take advantage of that fungal here to clean that up.
There's no way to dive on this army. I mean, we do have a couple of spine shots going off here on the main force. Go base goes down. Good pick up here by Stats. He is gaining ground, and he does reinforce with more Zealots, but the Vipers, they topped back up with energy. They're going for the yoinks.
They do get yoinked, and they do get the fungal follow-up as well. They do get the double yoink. And now Stats no longer has any Colossus.
Yeah, no longer any Colossus. Now we barely have an army here. Dark, he can completely swallow this up. And Stats, what are we remaxing on?
Ooh.
Even going for the Neural, actually, on the Immortal. Okay.
Yeah, might as well. The Immortals are kind of the backbone, the foundation of Stats' army right now. Anything you can do to chip into that foundation is going to be beneficial to Dark. Stats, though, he did lose a lot of units, but he has been mining for quite some time. He is working on his transition now, getting a Mothership.
Yeah, Mothership is on the way. Still no Skytoss. He's ready for it, don't get us wrong, but he's still just doubling down on mass Immortal production. Speaking of, how many Immortals do we have? We have 8 Immortals with the main army. And fun fact, with enough Immortals, you can actually break through a line of Lurkers. Like, you can actually bust through this. Immortals can be very tanky. Up.
I'm loving this from Dark. It's making use of his opponent's oracles, throwing down the stasis ward, stats ward, if you will, and it will trigger 4 of these Colossus. Stats wasn't expecting that at all. Who does? Who would, in fairness, and that's actually really huge. That's a huge chunk of Stats' army.
That is insane. 4 Immortals, they get caught in the stasis. Very nicely done here by Dark. And he does joink in another Immortal. We're waiting for those joinks. It looks like we go for the Neural. Instead, we catch another Immortal. Very nice use of the spellcasters here from Dark. Very nicely played.
Dark is just fishing at this point. He's throwing down his line. He's catching Protoss units. He's bringing them home and eating them. Frying them up with his lurkers.
Oh yeah, exactly. He is hungry. He's hunting for those Immortals for whatever Protoss unit he can get his hands on. Lurkers repositioning. This base here towards the north should be going down, so good pick up here by Stats as he rotates around trying to find another way in. Carrier production has finally commenced, but remember, Dark, he's working on 2-2. He is ready to switch into Corruptors.
Indeed, he is 2-2 flyer weapons and Carapace. Now on the way for Dark. I do like that Stats is making use of his army's mobility. I don't think Dark has been able to, has really been able to go beyond, let's see, 2, 4, 6 bases for quite some time, which in fairness, still a crazy amount of bases to have at this stage of the game. But Stats is doing whatever he can to prevent Dark from getting any larger.
He is, and now we can see Stats going for the center goal base as well. The pressure is soon going to be on Dark to deny some of these bases, instead going for a Nidus Worm, and Stats does not see this, by the way. He does not see the Nidus. This base towards the top left, it's going to be going down. As I say that, here comes Stats.
Yeah, it would go down if there were, you know, if Dark had units to spare, which at the moment he doesn't. Good engagement by Dark, however. He is able to take out most of the high-tech units of Dark.
Very nicely done as
Buff
well.
stats.
Yeah, gonna be going for the neural, wasting some of the energy here on the High Templar. Got a lot of chain fungals off as well. Stats has been taking a lot of damage. Nidus Swarm does complete. No lurkers loaded in yet. Dark is ready to go for any kind of counterattack. It looks like Stats is gonna be shutting down this Nidus just in time.
Yeah, a bit of a distraction Nidus, if you will. Meanwhile, another great fungal coming down from Dark. Great positioning with his lurkers as well. They have a huge surround on top of this Protoss army. The mothership goes down, and there's really not much left of Sats' army.
Really good yoink there from Dark to be able to take down the mothership with the spores, by the way. He didn't even have any anti-air. It was just the spores going ham on that mothership, and Stats has been getting picked apart. Now, he still has a bank to work with, but he is burning it through that bank, trying to focus and rebuild here on carrier production. Meanwhile, Corruptors have not been made yet from Dark, but I'm sure he's just waiting for that moment to switch into them as he's actually moving out with a big lane bane counterattack.
Yeah, he's trying to bust through this fresh base. It's got more than enough Banelings. Will they actually connect? They will.
Yeah, Baneling speed kicks in just in time. Zelts are going to be going down. We chase down the workers as well. This will be cleaned up, but regardless, a good trade here for Dark.
That takes out a full mineral line. Takes out a lot of these admittedly buffer units here that Sats has been producing. Just Zealots and Stalkers for the most part.
That's something to bear in mind, is what you just mentioned, is that I believe Stats hasn't lost any carriers this game. Like, he's been slowly building them up over the course of these last couple of minutes. We're up to 8 carriers. We have 2 more on the way, soon to be 10 carriers. That's a pretty hefty carrier count.
Yeah, eventually we're going to hit critical mass, and it's going to take more than just... It's going to take more than just Infestas and Yoinks to take them out. Dark hasn't built any Corruptus yet, I don't believe. Oh no, he has a couple.
Yeah, he's got a handful. He's got 9 Corruptors, which is okay, but as you mentioned, there are more carriers than there are Corruptors, which is terrifying. Like, we have to double down on that production. Meanwhile, Dark, he gets eyes on the gold base, and he's going for the gold.
Yeah, going to be sieging directly under it. I believe doesn't quite have range to get on top of this Nexus, but he will clear out some of the static defense.
Does clear it out. At the same time, Stats going for his own push, does deny the northern base, and now we're pushing into the wall of spores. Spores are going down. Lurkers are repositioning, but do we have enough anti-air?
Well, most of the spore crawls, they get taken out, so I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, there's only 3 spores left. We're trying to rebuild as quickly as possible. More Corruptors are on the way, but Dark, he's maxed out. He doesn't have enough room for more Corruptors.
Yeah, he needs to get rid of some of his lurkers. Whatever he can do to get rid of them just doesn't matter.
100% here. He's up to, I think, 19? Yeah, 19 lurkers. It's good, but now that there's no ground army, or now that we're relying on a Skytos army instead, we need to throw away some of these lurkers. They need to be thrown away. We need more Corruptors instead.
Yeah, if only you could devolve units.
True.
Turn back into Hydras.
Yeah, that'd be insane. Up.
See a recall with the mothership into a very fresh base here of Dark. Dark completely out of position to deal with this, so he's going to have to give all of it up. Going to re-maneuver down.
The base does full Corruptor to rotate over. At the same time, Bailey's going for another big rumba here towards the south, going for the mineral line and Stats. We go for the site defense instead. It looks like we do get a couple of probes as well. Meanwhile, main army did not quite commit here, as it looks like we did recall towards the top left.
Recall somewhere.
Oh, they were there.
There we go.
Oh, the High Templar.
As we... Oof. It's one Templar. What did it do to deserve that? Stats?
It was left behind. Feels bad, man. Speaking of feels bad, man. Oh, it looks like, okay, the offense is going to be left alone. We have a massive lurker counter here towards the top left. Remember, recall was just used. There is no recall available here for Stats, so the base is going to fall.
It is something that Dark absolutely needs to do. He needs to find some way to utilize his lurkers while he builds up a higher corruptor count back at home. 15 of them on the way. Dark actually has his main army bunched together. He's going for the mothership. Minus 250, minus 250. 350. It's something. Minus 300.
Yeah.
As Stats unable to recall, he's just going for it. He knows that he needs to counterattack. He needs to reciprocate this damage. Workers are going down left and right on both armies.
Yeah, it looks like two bases go down for Stats and Lurkers. They just keep on pushing. At the same time, the Corruptors, they've made it back home. Not just the Corruptors, they have the Infestors and the Vipers to support as well. So Dark is just trying to lure the army deeper and deeper into the bases. Meanwhile, the Lurkers, they're just not stopping.
Yeah, eventually you're going to get right on top of this production. Dark throwing down Nidus Worms as well, just in case he needs to escape. A lot of good storms, a lot of good beatbacks, but nowhere near enough of them. Looks like the Infestors will get dealt with, but too little, too late, too late, too loud, too large is Dark as he completely demolishes the carrier count of Stats.
Yeah, he went for the massive power bombs here on the carriers. He stacked on top of the power bombs as well. All the interceptors went down, and so did the carriers. Dark just annihilating the army here of Stats, just coming in to shut down the reinforcements, and Stats, he cannot rebuild in time. Stats is a massive bank, but he needs time. He needs time to remax, to rebuild, and Dark, he's already in his face, knocking down more bases with Ultras.
I love when Dark goes Ultras. Especially because he uses the classic skin.
He does.
Yeah, they were looking for High Templar, but unfortunately there weren't a lot of High Templar to kill. Another minus 300.
Yeah, another mothership
down.
goes. Yeah, it does go down. We get the Nidus Worm into the main base, but keeping the production, and these carriers, they're not going to see the light of day. They're going down one after the other, and we do see Stats desperately going for a base trade with what little he has on the ground.
Yeah, what little he has, whatever he can get done. I think he knows that Dark is also on the last legs of his economy. He doesn't have much of a bank, but unlike Stats, Dark still has a massive army. I don't think he has a Greater Spire. Yeah, he doesn't.
No Greater
So a lot of his
Spire.
supplies and Corruptors that won't be able to do anything.
That is a lot of dead supply. A lot of dead supply here for Dark. He needs to throw these away. He's making use of them. Okay, he's going to be causing spraying down as many buildings as he can. Corruptors are going to be going down to the cannons, which is a good thing, by the way, to clear up supply for Ling Ultra. Speaking of, here come those Lings. We do catch some of the Stalkers.
Yeah, we'll force a little bit of recall here as well. Stats recalling back to that base. Both players on sub 20 worker count. Barely any mining. Zero gas mining, but at least both players do have very large gas banks.
Yeah, they do have large gas banks here. Dark burning through so many of his minerals, but Dark, he has an army. He is maxed out, or soon to be maxed out. Could do with re-droning, to be honest, as he is, again, just his economy is in shambles at the moment, and it's just such a shame that he made so many Corruptors. He has 36 Corruptors. That is an insane count, and he has limited uses here for them.
It's like when you have 30 Medivacs as a Terran army. Except you have no bio units. That's how dead the supply is in carriers.
It is, as the Corruptors, they just go ham, they focus on the robots, they shut both of them down. We could have even gone for the main base as well, but alas, Dark is going to retreat. He bleeds out some more Corruptors, freeing up some more supply. Still no Greater Spire, but he's shutting down all these Stalkers. They do fall.
Yeah, Dark still has mining, still has a little bit of mining that Sats doesn't have right now. So Dark can continue to produce Lings and eventually just send them in, trickle them in, and just bleed out Stats' forces. Slowly but surely.
And you can see Dark, he just made a wave of drones, so he's just trying to saturate, droning on up, trying to catch out some of these Stalkers as well. Lings, they collapse on top of the Immortals. It looks like we won't be able to trade too well here. A lot of Lings do go down, and I just would have loved to have seen a Greater Spire here from Dark. I mean, it does take a long time to produce, but like these Corruptors, they need to do something.
Yeah, they're doing something. They're flying.
Yeah, the scouting.
The scouting, yeah. They're in the air. They're providing morale boost.
They are. We're hunting down buildings.
Yeah.
And we will.
Now we are.
Yeah. Oh, we do force a recall here towards that natural base. Yeah, we force out the recall. Can we focus down the Robo? Good storms here from Stats, though. We will be able to shut down a lot of these Corruptors, but the Robo goes down.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when we say good storms from Satsu, because good storms is exactly what Dark wants.
That's true.
He wants these Corruptors to stay in the storm and get taken out. And he can replace them with Hydras, as he's doing right now.
Yeah, Hydras are on the way, more Lurkers are on the way as well. Stats, he's down to 1 base, and no mining. Fun fact, no minerals or gas. There's just nothing to make use of here. 0 economy for Stats.
0 whatsoever. And yeah, Sats, gotta hand it to him. He's sticking in this.
Yeah, he's trying to
Just
recover.
not sure to what end.
I mean, to be fair, like, again, his ground army can still take it to Dark just because of how many Corruptors there are, but at the same time, we don't have any detection.
Yeah, Sats is hoping for a miracle, and there isn't one. All the Lurkers borrow. They will get right on top of this army. There's no more room for Stats to retreat to. That's going to be GG. Dark going to be taking game to end the series 2-0. GG. Nicely done. We went from a 5-minute game to a 27-minute game in this one series. Ooh, the versatility. 241 drones were created, by the way. That's
yeah, that's a lot of drones.
insane. That's how many. Yeah, that's how many workers died throughout this game.
GG, well played. I mean, congratulations here to Dark, as he does take it in the end. GG, Dark does take it 2-0 over Stats. Very well done. We got to see a cheesy, aggressive game out of Dark in game 1, but here in game 2, we saw something a little bit more macro-oriented. Dark showing us that, again, he has the best of both worlds. He can take it in a short game or even a longer game as well.
Yeah, both extremes. Mid-game, you usually can also take it there. But we didn't get to see that in this series. Instead, we saw a very quick game number 1, a bit of a longer game number 2, one that, honestly, Dark was in control of pretty much the entire time. There were a lot of moments, especially after Stats realized that he was playing it out too safe, where he was able to get some hits in, he was able to damage Dark's bases, his economy, and at some points even go toe-to-toe with him, army v army, but yeah, for the most part, that was Dark's game. He tricked Stats into playing overly safe after game number 1 and made full use of that by just rushing into Hive, into Lurkers.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. And yeah, with that, Dark advances on into the quarterfinals, and we need to take a moment here to have a look at the bracket itself to get a read on where exactly we are on what is coming up next.
Yeah, I believe we actually already have an opponent. Yep, we do have an opponent. Oliveira beat Firefly 2-1. Firefly, once again, proving himself to be an absolutely fantastic PvT player, absolutely on the up and up. To be able to take a map off of Oliveira like that is very impressive, to say the least. But Oliveira did triumph in the end, and so our quarterfinals here is going to be a TVZ. It's going to be Oliveira versus Dark. Meanwhile, it looks like Shin also took out Raynor 2-0. It's now facing Byun, who defeated Rex. Classic beat Creator 2-1. Will now be facing Sue, which is always a heartbreaking, always a bit of a heartbreaking match to see. Sue versus Classic. Tis a tale of heartache and whatnot.
Yeah, there's a lot of history behind Sue and Classic, so it's interesting to see them facing off once again. I mean, you gloss over a couple of things. Shin 2-0ing Raynor, very impressive stuff. I mean, we spoke about it, but again, this bracket is not easy. It's not easy, and even though Raynor is one of the best players in the world, he's still also amongst some of the other best here in Korea. This is like one of the great things about this bracket is, or the ESL Asia brackets, is that even though ESL Open Cup Europe and Americas are much larger, that is true, even though this bracket is smaller, the quality is that much higher though. Like, again, every single round is a brutal round, a brutal matchup to go into, so my condolences to Raynor as he does fall. in the round 16. It is quite condensed. It's like concentrated StarCraft. It's great. So
right into my veins.
yeah, exactly. So my condolences to Rainer. My condolences to Creator. Creator goes down to Classic. Solo goes down to Sue. Gumiho goes down to Nightmare again. Nightmare. I want to say that Nightmare, I don't know if I want to go this far, but he has at least some of the best PvT in the world right now. Like Nightmare, he's been on a tear against Terran players. It's been crazy.
That's a very strong claim to make when Firefly is still beating top Terran players.
True.
That's a very strong claim to make, but yeah, I think it is a claim that you can make. Nightmare has really been grinding. He has been on the up and up for the longest time. I've always seen him as just a PvP sniper, but in 2024, lately, he has been kind of rounding off in the other matchups. Like you said, PvT is kind of becoming his new specialty. PvZ as well, though. He's been able to get a lot of strong hits in against top level Zerg players. So if this keeps going on, I want to say that Nightmare might end up being our breakout player of the year. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to track him and continue to watch his progress, but yeah, Nightmare has really been going on a tear, really been showing that he is a force to be reckoned with in the region and potentially the world as well.
Mm-hmm.
See if it's able to get through all of those. Finally, I think one final result that we kind of glossed over is Bunny did beat Trap 2-0. About what we expected. Trap, is still kind of finding himself, still coming back from, as he has come back from the military, but yeah, Bunny was able to defeat him, so now Bunny will be facing Hero in another TVP, a TVP that he's quite familiar with, I would say, being old teammates of Hero.
Oh yeah, quite familiar with indeed. Oh, it looks like...
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate here, but it looks like Dark versus Oliveira has begun, and unfortunately we missed out on the game. Unfortunately, we didn't quite catch them. I thought we had a little bit of time there, but no, I think they have already dove in. So we are gonna have to try to catch game number 2. Game number 2 between Dark and Oliveira. As they are in game 1.
Indeed, they are. They are currently in a custom, from what I can see. So yeah, we're gonna have to keep our eyes peeled. Gonna have to hope that they get out pretty quickly, and yeah, hopefully we are gonna be able to jump on top of them, get into game number 2. Try to figure out what the score is as well. Do we know if anybody else was able to get into that series?
I believe Saber. I believe the Chinese caster Saber. I think he's casting on Bilibili or one of the other streaming platforms. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say we can take a look over, but nope, never mind.
Oh, good, oh, good. But yeah, so I guess we're going to be going... it's an unfortunate break that we're going to be having here. As we mentioned, Dark vs. Oliveira was going to be coming up next, and we can still always catch the second game. We can always catch game number 2. Outside of that, there are maybe some other matches ongoing as well. We might be able to catch like Shin versus Byun, for example. That would not be a bad one. But we're probably going to try to focus on the upper half of the bracket while we have other English casters covering the lower half.
Yeah. I believe Beowulf is currently live. Take a quick little look to see which series he's following.
Yeah, there's Beowulf, there's...
Oh, he is casting Shin versus Byun.
Ah, there you go. But I believe Beowulf is live. I believe Wardy is also casting another series as well. So, yeah, there are some...
Wardy covering Bunny versus Hero.
There you go, there you go. So, yeah, from here, I guess we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will be jumping into Game 2 of Dark vs. Oliveira. We're most likely going to be holding out on that, just so we can stay spread out for as long as we can. We're probably going to be meeting up with other casters in the semifinals. That's just how things go. So, yeah, that's going to be the plan for now, at least.
Indeed. Quick little update. Hero just took out Bunny 2-1.
Oh. Okay. I mean, it went to the ace match at least. Went all the way to game 3.
Yeah. So it's going to be Hero versus Nightmare in that lower bracket quarterfinal.
Okay, and most likely Wardy is going to be following Hero into Nightmare in that PvP. So Wardy has you covered there with that PvP. Sue versus Classic. I don't know if anyone's casting that, unfortunately. I mean, it sounds like a really good match. Sounds like a really good series. I hope that maybe one of the other language streamers is covering Sue versus Classic. As you mentioned before as well, Shin versus Beyond is being covered by Biomorph as well.
Indeed, it is. Just trying to take a look to see if there's anybody else who is covering who is going to be covering Sue versus Classic.
Yeah, all good, all good. Yeah, but for now, again, we're going to be going on a break. So take this moment to get some snacks, get some water, get some rest. Whew. Stretch your roaches, hydrate your hydras, massage your marines, and what's your one, Yaku?
Massage your marines, lemon your
lemon your is there a unit that starts with L?
Lemon your lurkers.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That works.
Yeah.
We're going on a short break. We'll be back soon. See you then. See you then.
Bye. I'm gonna say lemon your liver. And we are back. Hope you were able to make use of that little break that we've had earlier on. Dark versus Oliveira is now in continuation. We weren't privy to what went on in game number one. As far as I can tell, I believe Saber was the only caster in that lobby. But we do know that Dark is up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. And we are going to be figuring out how it continues from here over on Oceanborn. We're in the top left-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top left. We have our red Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the blue Terran player representing CranKy Gaming from the land of China. It is Oliveira.
The normal man.
Normal man is here. As you mentioned, it was a long game, to be fair. We don't know what happened in it, but it was around 17 to 18 minutes long, so it did go the distance, at least game number one between these two players. But now we open things up with a pool first. Interesting choice here out of Dark. This can lead into an early Roach Warren, into an early Roach push. Otherwise, this could just be a safer opener out of Dark. I'm curious as to what the hell happened in game one.
Yeah, we'll have to piece it together using context clues. Try to figure it out. So, okay, Dark going spawning pool now in game number one. That means, or in game number two, that means in game number one, he didn't do that.
I mean, true, you're not wrong.
And he won. Wait, but he also won game number one.
Yeah, so now he's gonna lose? Is that what you're saying?
What?
Is that
context clues?
Well, here we go. With the pull first, we have 6 Lings on the way. The goal of these Lings is to bypass the Reaper. This Overlord should be telling Dark where the Reaper is, then we can bypass it, then we can get across the map onto that CC and delay that command center for as long as we can. SCV Scout comes in, and Oliveira will confirm the late hatchery.
Yeah, he knows that something is up. He knows that he has to be a little bit more defensive with his forces. He needs to be very careful with how he controls his Reaper. Going to be keeping it around the scouting path.
Yeah, you can see Oliveira racing back home again. Because he saw the late hatchery, he knows it's a faster spawning pool, so he's getting ready back at home. Lings have arrived. We have 2 Lings going for the SCV, 2 more Lings getting into the main. Actually, more boys being pulled.
Yeah, Dark might be able to. No, not quite going to be able to get SCV kills, but he disrupts a lot of mining. He slows down the natural base of Oliveira a lot, and he gets a full scout here.
Yeah, he gets a full scout.
All in all, good opening here for Dark.
Yeah, not too bad at all here. He delays the CC, he gets a full scout, he forces lost mining time behind this. Dark also opened up gasless, by the way, so no gas whatsoever, which means no link speed, no roaches, no banelings. We are just relying on queens and droning for the early game.
Yeah, Dark has already completed what he was supposed to accomplish with his pool first. Now is the time to transition. Now is the time to macro and get into that mid game.
Yeah, and again, a pretty greedy follow-up here from Dark. Now, usually this would lead into Roach play. Just because link speed is so late, we can just skip link speed and just go into Roaches instead. I'm curious if that's going to be the case. For now, we're still just piecing it together. We'll see what the gas is going to be spent on, as we're still just droning up, relying on Queens to defend. Oliveira back at home, going for his own 3rd CC before start point.
Yeah, very economic focus coming down from Oliveira. Gonna be okay. Context clues. He's swapping add-ons here to get a Banshee. Game number one had roaches.
I mean, probably. I mean, as you're saying, like, this Banshee opener is going to be ideal against Roach-based play. Speaking of Roach production, it has commenced. Well, soon to commence here for Dark as the Hellions. They do get into the mineral line.
Yeah, only 2 Hellions, so not quite gonna be a full roaster that we normally like to see, but Oliveira is able to confirm the Roach Warren, is able to take out a couple of drones, so well worth losing these 2 Hellions, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Both Hellions going to be going down for 2. Ooh, not quite getting another one, but another Hellion does come in to roast up another drone.
4 drones in total for, I believe, 4 Hellions. Yep, 4 Hellions. And, of course, that complete scout. Oliveira confirms roaches are coming his way. Once again, super important for him to have built this Banshee.
Yeah, the Banshee's moving out. Roaches have been spotted. The Banshee's going to be able to get some free DPS on these roaches. You can see Dark splitting up his roaches, splitting up his forces. Bearing in mind this is not an all-in, Dark is droning up heavily behind this, working towards his lair. This roach push is designed just to try to keep Oliveira busy back at home instead of counterattacking.
And that's exactly what's happening right now. Oliveira stuck back at home with his units, not quite able to go across the map with these Hellions and these Banshees like he would normally want to really, once again, slow down Dark's economy, get a couple more drone kills.
Yeah, exactly. The Banshees have so much potential aggressively or to harass across the map to kill some workers, but they're stuck back at home. Dark is freely droning, getting into double Evo chamber for double upgrades. Now, for now it's Roach Ravager, but this can lead into Hydra Lurker-based play as well as the game goes on.
Yeah, you're already getting a range unit, so with these Evo chambers, might as well get your range upgrades, might as well get more range units. Know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll see if it +1 range is research. The other option is +1 melee, but there it is, range is on the way, so it is going to be more likely than not to end up in kind of a direction of lunkers. Don't they?
Yeah. Don't lick them. They don't like being licked.
I imagine, like, if you lick a lunker, it's kind of like licking those, like, Amazonian frogs.
Toads?
Yeah. Oh, God.
I imagine that's what happens when you lick a Baneling.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you can get Baneling acid in low amounts.
Uh-huh. Oh, no.
It's kind of like how venom and stuff and poison get synthesized into medicine.
Sure.
I imagine there's some healing properties in Baneling acid.
Do you think in the world of StarCraft there's like that exists where you can somehow synthesize like not necessarily Baneling, but like maybe even a roach or a queen or like Hydra, like venom or something?
Excretions.
Yeah, and like
Creep.
like cure stuff.
I imagine that has never been tried. It's possible, but it's just never been tried in the world of StarCraft.
You need to expand the lore of StarCraft and start licking Banelings.
Yeah. Yeah. We need more of the, like, civilian medical side. But knowing StarCraft, it's probably going to be horrifying, where it's like, they decided to make medicine from Zerg, but they accidentally made zombies. No, that's literally in Wings of Liberty campaign.
There you go. There you go.
Now that I remember it, that's... The scientists were trying to do something.
They were licking. Yeah, they were licking
Banelings. They were licking Banelings. Yeah.
Oh God.
And then they became zombies.
That's the lore. True.
It's a mission. Yeah. That's straight up a mission in Wings of Liberty.
Oh God. As for now, we are indeed going into this. Hydras, as you mentioned, Hive is about to finish up. Do we have a lurker den? Not yet, but I'm sure it's going to be on the horizon here for Dark. For now, just focusing on Roach Hydra, getting into that Hive. Likewise, Oliveira finally being active on the map. He's got quite a hefty tank out back at home, by the way.
Yeah, Oliveira, playing out a style of Terran that I'm quite fond of, personally. You fortify yourself back at home, you get quite a lot of tanks. This is almost too much tanks here for Oliveira, but we haven't quite hit that position yet. Yeah, but yeah, you fortify yourself back at home, you just continue to build more and more and more units, and your only map presence is 2 medevacs full of units. You're not going for any pushes until you're able to max out.
Yeah, and we're almost there. Oliveira, he's making 2 tanks at a time with that double factory production. He's just amassing a terrifying army. He's on 4 bases. Dark, likewise, should be able to join up soon. He's still not quite at that 80 worker count because he's relying on a Roach Hydra-based army. He's staying on a lower drone count instead, and his army's going to be that much weaker for it as well. But he at least has Vipers. 3 Vipers, full of energy.
Yeah, some good yoinks, some well-placed blinding clouds can absolutely shut down this army of Oliveira. Like you said, Dark is lacking in AoE. He doesn't have any Banelings, he doesn't have any Lurkers yet. He doesn't want to risk, Oliveira licking his Banelings or his Lurkers.
So he does want to protect them from the menace that is Oliveira, and we'll see if he can. There we go, Lunker Den is now on the way, but before that happens, Dark is pushing his max out.
Yeah, he's going to try to get something done, but this is a beautiful siege line. Well-placed yoinks, like we said, will be able to make quick work of those tanks. And it looks like that might just not be enough bio here for Oliveira to really deal with this. Dark still doesn't have any AoE, so well-timed stims can still get something done here, but at the same time, it looks like that's just way too much Zerg here. More of them are trickling in, and they are distracting the army of Oliveira.
Yeah, exactly. Again, the yoinks were too good. The blinding class as well with those Vipers. We bust on through into the natural. We work our way towards the main base. The bio army is still looking terrifying. We almost get a kill on the CC. We're going for it.
And the repair is not quite enough. This is a pretty good concave of Hydras. We're also getting a little bit of a flank of reinforcing Ghosts and Marines, but we also have a lot of reinforcing Roaches to come back and to fortify this front line once again here for Dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Dark's
Dark,
just not stopping.
he is not stopping. He cannot be stopped. He breaks the third base, the natural, as well as the army as well. The tank count was impressive earlier, but it is completely reset here between the bases. Now, Oliveira with these reinforcements, he can maybe force back the army. He is sniping these Hydras at least. But remember, Dark behind this, he's on, what, 70+ workers. Vipers are being rebuilt, and he still has a standing army.
Yeah, he still has a standing army, whereas Oliveira's army are kind of on their last legs. Very important siege up here with the Liberators. Very good choke point utilization from Oliveira. Oliveira now going to be able to chase this back. Dark has dealt a lot of damage though. Dark continuing to push. Only chased back once that tank siege is up.
Yeah, the tank makes it just in time. Oliveira, he is barely holding on. Dark is on 91 drones, by the way. He's actually making eight more. He's getting up to 100 workers. Oh my god, he's crazy.
Just like so. Almost 100 workers to the less than 60 of Oliveira.
Yeah, arguably too many workers at this point, but regardless, Dark, he is now focusing on rebuilding, remaxing, this time with 3-3. Ling's speed is on the way, so we can help reinforce with Lings as well to have a little bit more of an efficient army, so we're getting there. Now, Oliveira, he still lives, he still survives, he's holding on, but Oliveira has a lot of rebuilding to do.
Yeah, to say the least. He does have his bases still alive. You know, he does have a lot of CCs that he can use to remake his SCV count. He's doing a very good job of keeping it on top of his macro, but he just doesn't have a lot of resources at the moment, and it's a massive period that he's just going to perpetually be behind compared to the economy of Dark.
Yeah, it is just going to be behind, and I mean, we need, there are ways to come back, of course, whether it's like drop play or maybe catching Dark out of position, able to siege up in his army, able to snipe those Vipers ahead of time as well, or even just EMP the Vipers. There is a chance, definitely, like, Oliveira's army is quite efficient, it's quite effective, especially with 3-3 finishing up, but like, everything needs to go right. Everything needs to go right for Oliveira, and Dark, he's already pushing it.
Yeah, everything needs to go right, and Dark's making sure that nothing goes right. He's got lurkers this time, and Oliveira being very on top of these snipes, but there's only so much that you can target down with individual snipes.
No detection.
Oh,
there's no detection here. The Ghosts, they stand strong, they're cloaked. They're going to be able to break on through. As I say that, we're trying to, oh my god, we do come in with the Overseer. We can focus him down, and Oliveira, he's being cleaned up.
Yeah, there's not a lot of lurkers left here for Dark, but there's not a lot of anything left here for Oliveira. Dark going to be reinforcing with even more Hydras.
Yeah, he is reinforcing. I mean, again, Oliveira's going to be able to clean this up, and the lack of Overseer was really hurting Dark there in that fight. It does get sniped once again, but we're running out of ghosts. Those were expensive losses for Oliveira.
And not just running out of ghosts, running out of scans, running out of energy on these orbitals, running out of orbital commands. Period. As they do get taken out by the Hydras.
Yeah, another base does fall. We have a lurker harassing here at the natural. We have 3 tanks, so with these 3 tanks we can hold on to our natural at least. But Dark, I'm not too sure he really cares as he's going up for the 4th.
Yeah, this is a very fortified position once again, however, and a couple of these lurkers are caught mid-morph.
They're caught mid-morph, but we dive on top of the planetary. Boys are coming in to repair. Liberator's coming from behind, but the planetary, it goes down. DPS is just too damn high.
Too damn high. Dark gonna get cleaned up here, but already the damage has been done. That was the only base Oliveira had that still had full mining on it. Oliveira going for a counter push. This is his only shot. He has to go all in, and he has to get something done. It's now or never.
Yeah, it's now or never here for Oliveira. He does catch some of these Hydras as well. Again, he does have the more efficient army. He's going to be able to trade nicely against that Hydra. Where's the Ling Bane? Baneliness is on the way. Lings are amassing as we speak. We're getting on top of the tanks.
Yeah, a couple of them do go down, but the stimmed Marines and the Snipes are going to try to keep them alive. In the end, though, way too much Zerg. Dark going to be taking the series 2-0. GG. Who needs AoE damage? Dark does. He needed those lurkers towards the end there, but for the longest time, Roach Hydra. I don't think there were even that many Ravagers in his army. I don't think he made any Ravagers in his army, to be fair. Just old school Wings of Liberty, Roach Hydra, eventually into lurkers, but hey, it still worked out for him.
Yeah, it did work out for him in the end. I mean, as you were saying, I was very impressed with what Dark was able to accomplish with Roach Hydra Viper. Had very good Viper control there, was able to just annihilate and just pick apart that heavy tank-based army. Very impressive stuff. If you remember, that was before the Ghosts came out, before they were really too much of a factor. So pretty crisp timing there from Dark, and did snowball out of control. My condolences to Oliveira as Dark advances onto the semis, and Oliveira gets knocked out of the tournament.
Just like so, and already there is a semifinal opponent waiting for Dark here. We're going to be getting a ZVZ. We tried consciously to avoid this. Before the stream happened, we looked at the bracket and we said, let's avoid the ZVZs that are going to be happening in the lower bracket for now, and there was a reason for that, because we knew eventually we would get it. Dark versus Shin, going to determine who is the first player to make it into that grand finals, and it looks like we have confirmation that our grand finals is going to be a PVZ, because Classic beat Su 2-0, and he is currently facing Hero in the other semifinals. I believe Beowulf is currently covering that, so that's where to go to for your PvP action to determine who is going to face either Dark or Shin in the grand finals here.
There you go. So we have these semifinals ready for us. ZVZ in the upper, PvP in the lower as well. And as you said, it's going to be a ZVP finals. The best Zerg player in South Korea going up against the best Protoss in South Korea as well. I cannot wait. Even though I would say coming into this, Hero and Dark are favored in their respective matchups. Specifically in these mirror matchups, anything can happen. We've seen Classic beat Hero, and we even earlier today saw Shin beat Raynor. So it's still up in the air.
I think it will just be confirmed, right? If Shin beats Dark, he becomes the new best Zerg player in Korea. If Classic beats Hero, he becomes the new best Protoss player in Korea.
I mean, that's just math. I mean, what do we? Yeah. What else can we do? Here we go. But yeah, we're just waiting for the players to conduct their vetoes, and then we can dive into our next matchup. Until then, predictions will soon be open. We can also pick and choose, as it looks like both semifinals are about to start at the same time, but it does make the most sense for us to follow Dark, as we have been following him through stats and through Oliveira into Shin as well.
Yeah, and there will be coverage for the lower bracket semifinals, so we got it nicely spread out with the series that we're going to be jumping into.
Yeah, exactly. Typically, we try to kind of like follow a portion of the bracket throughout the broadcast just to keep things a little bit more structured here instead of like jumping left and right and jumping around the bracket instead. We might be able to cast the lower semifinals if this ZVZ is fast. It goes both ways. If this series is a bit faster, if the lower PvP is slower, then we might be able to catch the tail end of Hero versus Classic as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, we're not going to be able to catch the other series. It's a PvP, but then I remembered, oh wait, but this series is a ZVZ, so... Yeah, anything can happen. Both of them tend to be very, very quick matchups.
Exactly, and it looks like the vetoes are done, and we are diving into game number one. Game one is going to be on Post Youth for our first semifinals.
Indeed. And we're going to be having yet another map that I would not have chosen or not have predicted to be our first map in the series. It's going to be post-youth.
Yeah, I wonder if both players just decide to veto some of the smaller maps and now we're going to end up on some of the larger ones instead. I'm curious how a ZVZ turns out on this map. Just because of all the goal bases that you can take advantage of, this is going to be a wild one.
Yeah. Pure chaos is what I predict. As we get loaded into post-youth, we're over here in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right. We, of course, have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Talon Esports, still keeping that Gosu crew tag, apparently. We have Dark.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the the South Korean Zerg player going for an earlier pool timing, representing his new team, Gaiman Gladiators. It is Shin.
What a name for a team.
Not quite GGG, unfortunately.
I thought... Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, the first time I read that, I completely misread it as Gaiman Gladiators. I didn't notice the I in between there. I was like, man, what a name. But yeah, then it got pointed out to me that there is an I there. I was like, you know what? Still a cool name.
It's not bad whatsoever here, and we'll see how this build does turn out. Again, Shin did go for a much earlier pool timing. With this, we may actually go gasless. This is going to lead into an earlier queen, and we are investing into 6 lings early on. Okay, so with a pool first opener like this, the goal for Shin is to get some drone damage. We're going to be zooming across the map, looking to ideally get 1, 2, maybe even 3 drone kills. It's going to be on Dark to out micro and try to out control Shin's lanes.
Yeah. Which, easier said than done, but when it is Dark that we're talking about, you have to imagine that he'll be more than capable of pulling off that micro.
Yeah, we imagine. So, I mean, we've seen it before, we can see it again as lings are moving out. Dark just going hatch gas, full standard opener from our red Zerg player, as he's now getting into his queen production, soon to be lings as well, but he only has drones to defend. So again, it all comes down to his drone drilling and his drone control as lings. They do get into the main base. Oh.
And here comes the first drill. One drone goes down.
Oh my god.
2 drones go down, but only 2.
Yeah, 2 drones go down. Those are some nice drilling, some nice surrounds from Dark. 1 link still survives. This was not a bad start for Shin, though. Killing 2 drones is good. As you mentioned before, ideally he was hoping for a little bit more damage there, as Dark still maintains a worker lead.
Yeah. At the very least, he is able to apply some pressure. I mean, he slightly slows down the gas mining, but like you said, Dark is still ahead when it comes to the worker count. He's still ahead when it comes to his gas mining, his gas timing. A little bit supply blocked, but, you know, what can you do?
The supply block is nice. Fun fact, the reason why Dark was ahead in drones, by the way, after losing those 2 workers, is because he didn't make any lings. He skipped lings entirely just to squeeze out extra workers, so he's unfazed by the damage that was dealt, and we are rushing to a very fast lair.
Yeah, I was wondering what he was going to use all of this gas for, because it's not ling speed. Once again, hasn't made a single Zerg ling. Lair's on the way, and this is actually a really good map, I would say, for mutas to come out.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong here. All 4 gases are being taken. 2-base muta isn't seen too often here, but because of how large the map is, and because of the openers and the fact that Shin is now going to be stuck at home re-droning, resaturating, 2-base muta does make a lot of sense. Shin might be thinking the same thing. It's a later lair, but he has taken all 4 gases, just like Dark.
Oh, I cannot wait.
There it is.
I cannot wait for the muta on muta action. Now, as Wise Man once said, muta v muta most of the time comes down to just who has a higher muta list count. If there are no other variables. So the fact that Shin will most likely be the defender does mean that he's going to have to utilize his queens. He's going to have to be on top of his transfuses and whatnot. But for the most part, we have to give the advantage to Dark. He is getting his fire a lot quicker than Shin is. Shin only throwing it down in the last couple of seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So it is going to be, as we mentioned, Muta v Muta. As you mentioned, Dark will have the faster mutas in general. He has had the slightly better economy. This is going to be quite close here, depending on how many mutas we invest into, how hard we aggress upon the other, and whether queens become a factor as well defensively, right? As you mentioned, that's going to be the deciding factor. Whether queens can help transfuse and support the mutas if we fight back at home, spores as well, and it's going to be an interesting dynamic between both Shin and Dark.
Yeah, that it will be Overseer coming into the main base of Dark, trying to get some scouting done. Think seeing these two gases should kind of confirm Shin's suspicions that, yep, we are going to be seeing Muta v Muta.
Yeah, here we go. Lings, they do get across the map. We're going for the queens. The decent round, but alas, oh, the transfuse on point. Dark, he does defend. He holds on to his third base. Lings, once again, they're going for a surround, but again, we have another transfuse available, and Dark, can he hold on?
Yeah, with the transfuse, with his own link count, looks like he will be able to hold on, will be able to chase this back. The mutas are now out. Dark, not quite taking out that Overlord.
Yeah, not quite. There we go. He turns back around, shuts down the Overlord, and now what is the muta count looking like? We have 9 mutas from Dark, 7 mutas from Shin. We're still investing into a heavier muta count, catching more Overlords out on the map. Bearing in mind that Dark, he's going to be the first to shut down these Overlords, but the mutas of Shin have revealed themselves.
Like so. Dark actually switching gears a little bit, playing as a defender.
Yeah, he does pull back, but he has the higher muta count. Oh, comes in.
Yeah, he has a higher muta count and just completely negates, or doesn't have to worry about defender's advantage on the side of Shin, because now he's the defender. He has that advantage, and he's looking to continue this momentum to the other side of the map. Notices the queens, though, and then immediately pulls back.
Yeah, he pulls back. He's hunting down more Overlords. He's already killed 3, going for a 4th Overlord as well. Meanwhile, Dark has already pulled back. He's preserved his own Overlords. He has map control for the time being. Looking at the muta counts here, Dark is ahead by 3, but we're still getting to more muta production. Interesting choice when it comes to upgrades. Dark going for +1 air attack. Shin going for carapace.
Yeah, I guess it just reflects the fact that both players know that Dark was the first player to get the Spire. Dark was the first player to start producing Mutalists, so he's going to try to give himself an even larger advantage by getting +1. Shin, on the other hand, knows he's going to be a little bit more behind, just wants to prioritize keeping his Mutalists alive and getting Carapace.
Yeah, if you know that you're behind in mutas, then carapace is the better upgrade. If you know you're ahead, then of course +1 air attack is more important, but we do get the contamination. Oh, big delay on the upgrade.
Yeah, it's... Oh, I see. I was going to say it's not showing up on my screen, like the graphic isn't showing up, but
it looks like a Zerg building.
It is there. It's just kind of... It's just kind of clipping a little bit with the skin of the Spire. I saw it at the end there, yeah.
So we are stacking with each other. Again, Dark, he has a 3 muta lead. At the same time, massively counter-attack to the left-hand side. He does have an overwhelming army. The mutas are pulled out of position, and Dark, he goes to the main.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dark wanted to do. Taking out these Overlords, going to make it so that Shin can't produce more Overlords, at least not for a while, until he fixes the supply block. There's a huge supply block. It's going to cost a lot of larva to create enough Overlords to make up for it.
And Dark is overwhelming. He's overwhelming Shin right now. We have Lings pushing in. We're just annihilating that third base. At the same time, push towards the natural as well. And Shin just cannot keep up. If he moves one way, then Dark comes in the other. That's going to be a kill on the natural. On barely not even.
That's a lair.
That is a lair.
Dark decided to leave that alone and just try to pull Shin into a less advantageous position where he knows he can try to overwhelm with his muta count. It looks like Dark is slightly ahead on that, but because he pulled the mutas away, Lings are free to go into the main. Takes out the lair.
Yeah, takes out the lair. And takes out the mineral line as well. Meanwhile, Dark back across the map. It's just too much. GG gets called, and Dark will take game number 1.
Just like so. GG. Nicely done here for Dark. It's just too fast, too furious. Both players going for about the same thing, but Dark was just able to hit much, much faster.
Yeah, again, I mean, Dark was greedier at the start of the game. We spoke about it, but in a mirror matchup, being up like 2, 3 drones, 4 drones, it can be the world of difference here. Just that's how brutal and how unforgiving these mirror matchups can be. Whether it's ZVZ, TVT, or PvP, it is all applicable. And yeah, with that, congratulations to Dark. Again, unfortunately, Shin was just that one step behind, and we saw that he just was unable to get a leg up on Dark at all, whether it was Ling harass or his Muta harass.
Yeah, even in the very early game when Dark completely skipped out on Lings and Shin was going across the map with his 6 Lings to try to get a little bit of damage done, Dark was completely on top of his drone drilling, and as you pointed out, he made absolutely 0 Lings whatsoever. So he was spending his larva on getting more drones, so ordinarily 2 drones going down for the cost of that, not too bad. I mean, you're hoping for more, but it's still not terrible for the aggressor. But in this case, because Dark was already on top of making even more drones, it is a huge shutdown.
Yeah, Dark, he was just able to be that much more greedier as well. Like, we spoke about it, right? Like, Dark, he didn't make any Lings in the early games. He was able to squeeze out more workers. He skipped his Ling speed and went for a faster lair. I believe Shin didn't quite do that, or at least he didn't quite skip Ling speed. So again, just slightly more efficiency, or again, Dark just cutting more corners in the end and getting away with more, and that just kind of escalating out of control. Really, really well done.
Yeah. Really nicely done. Things escalated way too quickly. They elevated.
Oh. There you go. There you go. And yeah, I was even just double checking. It was Shin just laying his gas income more than Dark, I should say, and yeah, that led to the faster lair. And what I will say though is that I'm happy to have witnessed that again. Like, how often? When was the last time you saw Muta v Muta in ZVZ?
Very, very rarely. You see mutas every now and then, you know. Especially here in our region, we see mutas quite a bit. Thanks, Demi, for keeping it alive. But it's usually Muta v Hydra, Muta v Ground Zerg, Muta v Muta. I want to say 2018 or 2017 was the last time I saw it in a Premier tournament.
I would
have Sue versus Scarlet.
Yeah.
And I think GSL.
I have to like echo that, right? Like, we cast StarCraft here on a daily basis, often multiple times a day as well, and I would remember something like Muta v Muta, and it's been years. It's been at least years since the last time we saw that. So yeah, it was really interesting to see that on full display on Post Youth. Doesn't make sense because of the map, and now we're loading into Amphion.
2017 was 7 years ago.
I'm sure that it happened at some point, like in 2020 or something, but like, yeah, in the most recent history, I can't quite recall. But here we go. We're diving into game number 2.
Indeed, we are, and it's fitting that our last map was called Post Youth because at that revelation, I felt it drained from my body. Anyway, we're continuing our series on Amphion, where we're here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the bottom right. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He is, of course, going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Dark. The Bad.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Gaimin Gladiators, down in this series, looking to bounce back in game 2. It is Shin.
Is Gaimin slang for something? It has to be, right?
I think it's... I'm sure it does mean something. Like, it's not a word... It's a word that I have heard before.
See, Gaimin software company in Zug, Switzerland. So Google is telling me.
Yeah, when I think of Gaimin, I think of like, I don't know, like Kamen Rider or something. Like like kaiju or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Gaimin Gladiators, Canadian esports organization. So I guess it literally is following the footsteps of so many other teams in the past that named themselves after their main sponsor.
There you go.
Following the footsteps of KT Rolster, SK Telecom T1, Shopify Rebellion.
Yeah, I just came across like a Reddit thread because apparently Gaming Gladiators, they also have a team in Dota, and the Reddit thread is like half the casters call it Gaming Gladiators, the other Gaming Gladiators. Which one is
I
it?
feel validated.
And they're like, we don't know.
Yeah, team Gaming, let's go. I've been validated.
There you go.
Thanks, half of the Dota 2 casters.
That's gonna be the next civil war, mate. Is it Gaimin or is it Gaimin? Who knows?
Yeah.
Even the sponsors don't know. They're gonna be split in half as well.
Yeah, even the company.
Oh god. They're gonna split the roster in
Geralt
half.
versus Geralt all over again.
True.
What was the other player? Solar versus Solar. No, not quite. I don't think that debate got quite.
No, you know what it is?
high
It's
up.
NXZ or NXZ.
Yeah. I mean, I just go to third route. Royan.
True. Right. We're going for a roach rush, by the way. Or two-base roach.
Yeah,
rush,
we are going for a roach rush from the side of Shin. I believe Dark got eyes on that, which is why he is focusing so heavily on his link count.
Yeah, he also has eyes on the minerals that we're mining through here on the left-hand side. So, Shin, he goes toward two-base Roach. He's rushing into a lair. He's walling off. He's skipping Ling Speed and skipping Banelings. Meanwhile, Dark tries to punish this, but is unable to. Dark, even though he's down when it comes to tech, Dark has a third base and will have a better economy. As the Lings are flooding in, he's going for the Queens. There wasn't a wall! No!
The wall is on the wall. The Link's got a full surround on top of these queens, and they do not have enough energy to transfuse. Boys have been forced to be pulled, and boys are gonna be dying here. Drone drilling is decent here for Shin, but there's just way too many Zerglings. An entire mineral line goes down.
That may just be game, as we just mow through all the queens, all the drones as well. Lings, they bust into the main west, but down to 19 workers, and Shin is going for an all-in. We have a Nidus Worm on the way. Fun fact, Dark has scouted. He's fully aware of everything that's going on.
Yeah, he is fully aware. This was already an all-in for Shin, so his economy was already gonna be way lower than Dark's. Dark has just confirmed and been able to cripple it. Scouts the Nidus will be able to just barely take it out
There's no
with
transfuse?
drones. A couple of units do come out. Yeah, there's no transfuse available here, unfortunately, for Shin.
Yeah, I mean, the queens all died, right? There's no transfuse. The Nidus cannot survive. We get on top of the roaches. Another Nidus is about to finish, but Dark, he's all over this. He's shutting this down. Ling reinforcements have arrived, and we get us around on the reinforcing roaches.
Yeah, Dark's not even targeting down the Nidus. He knows that it's better just camp it and take out the units as they pop. GG is called, and Dark will take that series 2-0. GG. Very fast series. Very unfortunate as well here. On the side of Shin, my heart goes out to him. I think we've all been in positions like that. Maybe not quite like having the queens not quite body block, but you know, that those moments where you're just one pixel off in your wall and Lings are able to flood in and you're just completely shut down. Anything you were going for, that was, yeah, unfortunate positioning there for Shin. And Dark was able to take full advantage of that.
Oh, yeah. Was able to take full advantage. Meanwhile, it looks like the lower semifinals is about to kick off as well. We're going to the ace match.
Ooh! So it looks like both series or both maps were about as quick as each other. It's just that we had a bit of a different result here in our PvPs, so yeah, we get one extra game.
We get one extra game. I'm quickly setting things up here, but yes, we have a Hero versus Classic in a PvP. We are tied up 1-1, and we're here to determine who faces off against Dark in the Grand Finals.
Yeah, which Protoss player? Is it going to be the best Protoss player in Korea, or the best Protoss player in Korea?
That's one way to put it.
Gotta be one of them.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Pap. You're not wrong.
I saw your hot take the other day when you were saying that when it comes to the Korean Protoss players, Classic is on the up and up. The only other player who can really rival him is Hero.
Yeah.
And I agree. I agree with that assessment. Yeah. But regardless, we are here on Oceanborn to determine who our finalist is going to be to face off against Dark. Over here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner, we of course have our red Protoss player coming down from the land of Korea. Is of course going to be representing Dragon Kaizi Gaming. We have Hero.
And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have as a opponent, we have the blue Protoss player representing Twisted Minds from the land of South Korea. It is Classic. Also, I understand why you characterize it as a hot take. I feel like it's a cold take, personally, because it's like, really, people contest that Classic is one of the best Protoss players in the world. But the reality is, there were some dissenters in the chat. There were some people coping in the chat about like. Some
the thing is, I can understand why there are dissenters. It's because Classic didn't qualify for GSL Code S this season, and didn't qualify for GSL this season, and we weren't quite privy to the qualifiers, so we only really saw who the players who beat him were. They were Su, they were Ryung, and there was one more. I think it was Bjorn or something like that. And you know, ordinarily, we would expect a top player to be able to beat a player like Su and like Ryung. Of course, recently, as we found out, they actually did level up really hard. They are actually much tougher opponents recently, so. Yeah, maybe not as much of a hot take now with that information, but, you know, knowing that Classic didn't qualify, but players like Creator and, like, I believe Nightmare as well didn't make it a bit of a hot take for a little while there.
Yeah, I agree with that, like, assessment. Again, like, I understand, and we were even talking about it at the time, because we did cast the GSL Code A qualifiers, and it was brutal to see Classic not make it into GSL into the season. I think more than anything, that just goes to show how brutal GSL is. I mean, Raynor got knocked out in the first round as well, right? So despite traveling to Korea and expecting to go on for a deeper run, and again, it's just that much unforgiving, and it is a brutal tournament.
Yeah, it was. But you know what? I've been a Classic fan since before it was cool to be a fan of Classic.
True.
So I have to agree with your assessment there. Classic,
you know, like, you gotta go further.
Top two Protoss player in Korea, arguably top 3. Yeah. Yo, he beats Hero here in the Ace match. He'll be number 1 for at least 1 week.
We have a robot opener, by the way. Classic, it looks like the setup for a 1-base all-in. He's moving out across that with the Adepts. He's going to try and shut down some of these sentries. Last sentries has been buffed in PvP as of late, and Hero is going to be able to hold on. He shuts down. Ooh, the Adept does fall.
Has fallen. That's the power of the new sentry. You know, they do bonus damage to shields. They are much quicker in taking them out.
Yeah, bonus damage to shields. They also take less damage from Adepts as well, as they are no longer a light unit. And Classic is going to try and recover here with his 1-base all-in. Prism is on the way. Pylon as well. I imagine we're going to be throwing down a proxy gateway. We're still only on 2 gateways. We're going for a Bane. That I was not expecting, and Hero sees. He scouts.
Yeah, this hallucinated Phoenix will catch eyes on everything. Classic moving across the map with his Warp Prism. Doesn't have anything to load inside of it yet, but I believe he does have a pylon across the map.
Does have that pylon. He can reinforce. I mean, he's got the Prism as well. Still only on 2 gateways, which is interesting to me. He's expanding behind this, again, because he only has those 2 gates, but he's still reinforcing, still pushing in, still applying pressure to that natural base of Hero.
Oh. Yeah, he really needs to do whatever he can to keep Hero on his toes and keep him contained, since he knows he's down a base.
Yeah, he is down
this
that
is
base.
A little bit of a feint. Ooh!
Oh, the Prism getting so low! Oh god!
Sentries once again being the MVP! But a good target firing from Hero will take out the Warp Prism, and without the Prism, there's just nothing Classic can do across the map. His entire game plan went down together, and GG. Unfortunately, we cannot say Classic is the best Protoss player in Korea. Hero is. Or I should say, Hero proves himself once again to be the best Protoss player in Korea.
GG, well played. Hero, he was able to, I mean, he went for a standard opener, I should say. He was able to get into his natural base. Really good defense there out of Hero, and just a really good setup overall. Classic was crazy. Like, his build was all over the place there, going for the robot opener into 2 gateways, into a bay, into an expand, so it wasn't a 1 base all in. He was trying to transition out of it. It was unfortunate that everything got scattered, and Hero was able to just shut it all down, and yeah, with that, Hero takes it all.
Yeah, Classic really living up to his team name. It's one twisted mind that he's gotten there, and yeah, one that in the end was not able to twist Hero enough. I think Classic himself might have even confused himself for a second there. Like you were saying, it was all over the place, and not all of that looked intentional from the side of Classic.
Oh yeah, it was almost as if it almost looked like a little bit off the cuff, right? It's like he was
improvised a little bit. Yeah,
trying to improvise a little bit there. Regardless, GG, well played in the end. Hero does take it, and now we have our grand finals. It's gonna be a best of 5 PVZ.
And I cannot believe that for a while in this tournament, Light, I thought we would get a finals that wasn't Dark versus Hero. We mentioned it at the start of the broadcast. There was a period of time where we had nothing but Rogue versus Zest. I feel like after both of them went to the military almost immediately, it was nothing but Dark versus Hero. Or it became nothing but Dark versus Hero.
I mean, to be fair, Dark versus Hero is an interesting one. And that's what, I don't know if you can, sorry, I don't think you're actually in the, no, yeah, you're in the party. That's what Edu was referring to as they're talking a little bit. So I don't know if you've noticed, but over the past year, I want to say it's been a year, Hero and Dark have been playing every single week in ESL Open Cup Asia and in KSL. But when they face off, especially in the ESL Open Cups, because of the seeding, they face off like in like the quarterfinals or the round of 16. Like they face off really early on, every single week, time and time again, just because of the way that their seeding system works. Like it was just made in such a way, and they would just not face off any further than that. But I don't know if you heard, I think it was a couple of weeks ago where ESL did actually change their seeding system. They changed it.
Yeah, I've heard about this. They changed the seeding system, and I believe they also adjusted the rules as well. Raynor was talking about it, about the changes in in ESL, and he's in the EPT, and he specifically was talking about the race switching rules.
Yeah,
which he appreciated, but yeah, they also changed how seeding works slightly.
Yeah, so before they would have it set where if you are tied in points, then they would just do it, I think it was alphabetically. But now, if you're tied in, now if you're tied in EPT points, they randomize. Now they before they didn't.
Ooh.
Before it would not be randomized. It would be set when it comes to your ordering and seeds. But now randomization is a factor, and that does mix things up quite a lot, especially in ESL Open Cup Asia and ESL Open Cup Europe, because Europe was the same, where you would have like the same semifinals week
every week.
Yeah. Like it wouldn't be, it would be the same players fighting each other in the semis like every single week, and it was becoming a little bit monotonous.
Yeah, a little bit harder to also a little bit harder to determine things like tiebreakers, right? Going into things like ESL Masters, and especially into IEM Katowice.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, with that does kind of make these online weeklies a little bit spicier and a little bit again less monotonous and a little bit more exciting as well, and it means that finally we can have a Dark v Hero finals again.
Yeah, indeed we can. See a little bit in chat asking about the banner. It's the ESL Open Cup Asia.
Yeah, it's ESL Open Cup Asia. For those that are curious, that red thing
that is open.
Yeah, that's like a plastic styrofoam cup. You know, the cups that you get for like
a party cup.
Like a party cup. Yeah. There you go. That's the cup we're fighting for. It is open. Oh. Do love to see it. Yeah, not for every tournament, but there are some tournaments that Yaku does kind of flex his artistic skill, and Yaku does make his own background.
Yeah, the reason why it's not for every tournament is because I've run out of space in Discord where they allow how many backgrounds you're allowed to save.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So
Oh,
I've had to figure out some that I have to use for more than one tournament. So for WTL and for KFC, it's the same banner.
Which doesn't make any sense because there's no chicken in WTL, but sure. So what do you have? You've got KFC, you've got ESL Open Cup, you have tuna. Do you have tuna?
I have tuna.
Mhm.
They sparkle.
Yeah.
The tuna does sparkle. And we can get into that after our intros because we're going to be loading into game number 1 of our best of 5 grand finals here. We're in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way. In the top left, we have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. Of course, it's going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Dark.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing CranKy Gaming, DKZ. It is Hero.
Like so. Yeah, what else? I have one for Grand Platypus Open, which I guess I don't need anymore.
True.
Rip in peace.
It's bad, man. You can replace it with a Sea Duckling Open.
I can. No, I think I have Sea Duckling Open background.
Yeah.
It's one that I made before we even decided to put webcams for our streams.
One of the OGs. And as we settle into this game, by the way, very quickly, predictions are open, so you can place your bets on how you believe this series will unfold, on how you or who you think is going to be this week's champion. Will it be our Protoss or our Zerg player? It is up to you in the chat to decide. Best of luck.
Best of luck. Get them grapes. Can use them to redeem hydration.
There you go. You can hydrate with those points. As I love in the chat was like, wasn't it obvious, chat? True, it was obvious, right? What else could it be?
Yeah.
Your background, I mean, yeah.
Exactly. AI will never be able to replace this.
Here we go, as we are going to be moving out across the map, getting a full scout off. Again, so far we have a Hashgas full standard opener from Dark. Meanwhile, we do have a Hero back at home going for a Stargate opener, everything looking as it should, but we are letting into Ghost River. Already, the map is one of the more quirkier ones, has an interesting feature, and both players, both Hero and Dark, are more than willing to make use of it. More than willing.
Yeah, I mean, we saw just how quickly Dark can shut down a Protoss player on Ghost River earlier on in his series against Stats. It was a 5-minute game where he just flooded Lings into Stats' side of the map. Hero, I imagine, would be a lot wiser on that. Of course, Hero is teammates with Dark. They do practice against each other quite a lot, so if this is something Dark likes to do, I'm sure Hero would be more than ready to defend against it. Which is also why I have to imagine Dark's going to be doing something a little bit different this time.
And speaking of doing something different, Hero is not going Oracle, by the way. It's going to be a Void Ray opener instead. With a Void Ray opener, we're going to be shutting down these Overlords. We're going to be keeping Dark in the dark. And Hero can go for a hidden tech structure after this Void Ray, or can play standard. Can do either or. It's going to be that much more difficult for Dark to recognize it to scout.
It's going to be playing in the dark for a while here. Not going to be fully committed to Void Rays though. We have been seeing a little bit of a Void Ray resurgence. I believe Classic was the one to really spearhead that in the past couple of months. But Hero, he's not as twisted as Classic.
He is not. He is going for an Oracle behind the Void Ray, which is really good just because it's not the most obvious of things, so Dark may end up skipping his spores and may be a little bit more vulnerable back at home. As you can see here, one spore in the main base, no spore at the third. Lings, they do move out across the map, and we do manage to catch an Adept. We could even get both.
Yeah, one of them goes down, the other one goes down, and there's not a whole lot left here back at home. Oracle turns around, will activate his Pulsar Beam. Dark not going to be getting really any more damage from here, but he confirms he forces Hero to use up a little bit of energy with that Oracle. Will buy himself some breathing room to set up his force back at home.
Yeah, exactly. Spore is on the way. Queens are getting in position as well. Behind this, it's going to be a Twilight Council. There's no Forge, by the way. This could be a couple of different things. This could be Glaive Adepts. Could be a Glaive Adept follow-up. This could be Blink for a Blink 3-base all-in. We could even see Charge as well, but whatever it's going to be aggressive because there's no Forge for a longer game.
Yeah, regardless, Hero wants to hit quick, he wants to hit hard, and he doesn't want this game to go beyond the lair stage. Blink.
There we go. Now, this Blink is faster than normal because we rushed into that Twilight Council a little bit faster than we otherwise would. That means that Blink Stalker is going to be online quite soon here, and we'll see what Hero can get done with those Blink Stalkers. We'll see if Dark can minimize his losses.
Yeah, well, he's going to have to try. He's already getting +1 melee, which is good when you're up against Blink Stalkers. You do want to prioritize getting your lings, getting them in position, and being able to close the gap when Stalkers blink away. Good Oracle control. Hero able to take out 5 more drones behind all of this.
Yeah, good stutter stepping as well, going for some lings as well. Hero just squeezing out as much value as he can out of these oracles. Meanwhile, back at home, we're getting up to 6 gateways here, so it's going to be 6 blink on 3 bases. We could throw down additional gateways alongside this. We're still waiting for that to really kick in. There's a delayed forge, but again, we spoke about it. Blink is faster than normal, and Hero is moving out with those Blink Stalkers.
And he is going to hit hard. Not quite as hard if he had +1. Forge now on the way. But he's going to try to get something done. He's going to try to slow down the economy of Dark once again. Yeah. Ideally force him to spend Larva on Lings, which don't necessarily scale well as the game continues, instead of getting more drones. Dark, on 55 workers, it's not exactly ideal, not exactly efficient for this stage of the game.
Yeah, this is a 3-base all-in, by the way. Here he's pushing in with his Stalkers. He pulls back to the choke point. The ramp is brutal. The Lings, they cannot get us around. The Oracle's coming in to support as well. But that's still a lot of Lings, and we do force back those Stalkers.
Yeah, still a lot of Lings. Still receiving support from those Queens. Bailing's now on the way as well to try to bust through any choke points that Hero tries to utilize with these...
Oh, even shield batteries.
With these Stalkers. Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely insane. Hero knows that this is absolutely where he wants to fight. Huge stasis ward will catch practically every Ling that Dark had in this fight. A couple of Banes do sneak into the 3rd base, will take out a lot of probes. Hero in an even more desperate position. He was all in before. He's even aller inner now.
Exactly. He's on 8 gateways, by the way. He does catch a lot of these things. Now the stage trap going to be baited out. Bailings are getting ready here back at home. Can Dark barely hold on? Did bleed out some of these Queens. Another Queen does get targeted down. Hero, it's all or nothing for him. Bailings, they come in from behind.
And they will get a couple of connections, but none that are good enough to really soften up this Stalker count. GG will be called. Hero will be taking game number 1.
GG.
And that is how you use Ghost River to your advantage as a Protoss player.
GG, well played. Yes, we've seen this build before from Hero. It was an 8-gate 3-base all-in, but not just an 8-gate 3-base all-in. Again, for Hero to rush into the Blink the way that he did, for him to hide it with his Void Ray as well. Ideally, against this kind of build, you do want Roaches. Ideally, you want Roaches to help support your Lings and Queens, but Dark was going pure Ling Bane instead, and you saw how easily or how quickly that can be abused, especially with that ramp. Like, that ramp in the middle of Ghost River is brutal because Lings, they just cannot engage there.
They really cannot. I want to believe that there was a chance there for Dark when he was going for his flank, right? When he had all of those Lings coming in from behind, his Banelings in the front. If he was able to trap Hero into that choke point, I want to believe the Bane Bust would have worked out, but Hero had one of the juiciest stasis wards I think I've ever seen in a PvZ. Caught out maybe 90-95% of Dark's Ling count. And from there, he just wasn't able to pull off that sort of hammer position that you normally want.
Yeah, exactly. So in the end, our Protoss player takes the lead in the series, but now we're getting into game number 2, and it's still a best of 5, still plenty of games ahead of us.
Indeed, we do have plenty of games ahead of us, yes. translate or English stopped working in my brain for a second there. But regardless, we're going to be continuing our series now on Oceanborn. We're over here in the top left-hand corner map, sounding all the way in the top left. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. Currently down 0-1 in the best of 5, but not out whatsoever. Representing Talon Esports, we have Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have this better. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing DragonKy Z Gaming, DKZ, leading the series 1-0. It is Hero.
I gotta be honest, Light. I keep forgetting that they're not teammates anymore.
I mean, they were for a
I'm
long
sure
time,
they still,
to be fair. Yeah.
Yeah, for a very long time. That's why their rivalry was also a little bit more entertaining, because they were not just close as players, but they were also teammates. I'm sure they still practice with each other quite a lot, but yeah, it's kind of weird to imagine DragonKy Z Gaming without Dark. It's also, I think, why I... Yeah, it's also, I think, why I specifically haven't been able to catch my eyes on Dark as much as I'd like to. It's just because, you know, he's not playing in WTL anymore.
Yeah, he is not playing in WTL anymore, and we'll see how they do kind of compare to each other. I imagine they still play customs. I imagine they do still play customs with each other, but yeah, I mean, we'll kind of see. I mean, even if they don't play customs, they play quite often here in these online tournaments as well.
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
Technically a custom, just, you know, a custom with rules and prize on the line and in a format. Unlike the wild customs where, you know, back in the day, or rather, I say back in the day, but I'm pretty sure it's still standard practice to literally do customs on one map over and over and over again, just to really hammer down the familiarity, understand every aspect of the map, and also just to save a little bit of time as well. You know, you don't have to worry about figuring out what next to practice on. It's just, yep, bookmark this one map today, and so we can just make lobbies much quicker over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Just does just able to pull that off. And for now, as we settle into Oceanborn as well, I'm curious as to what the plan is going to be, because this time Hero is going for Stargate Opener, but he's going for an Oracle first, not a Void Ray this time, so he's not spicing it up as much as Game 1. So far, a much more standard build from Hero.
Yeah, which makes sense. Oceanborn, a much more standard map, so not as many opportunities to really bamboozle your opponent. I say bamboozle, but I'm not sure how much of a bamboozlement Ghost River was. It wasn't so much that it caught Dark off guard, it was more so that Hero just executed it so brilliantly with so few mistakes that it's a strong build.
Yeah.
It's a strong build, it's a strong attack. If you even slip up once as a defender, you have to imagine Hero's going to be able to take full advantage of that, and will be able to leverage a victory from there.
Exactly. So no mistakes available, not against Hero, not against the best Protoss in the world. Behind this, as we're setting into 3 bases, we have a Twilight Council and a Forge on the way. This is a much more standard follow-up here. Should be for +1 and Blink. Again, Hero just calming things down here in Game 2, showing us that he doesn't have to be cheesy, doesn't have to be overly aggressive or all-in. Hero can play a much more standard game as well and still look terrifying.
Yeah. A lot of versatility on his hands. Can macro.
Yeah. Good micro.
He can micro.
It's crazy. Oh my god. He's insane. Oh, as we are getting a little bit of lag. Yeah, I felt the lag spikes as well. Just quickly double checking here. Things are looking okay on my end.
Oh.
But... oh.
I just jumped to 600 ping.
Oh, there's a chance that it might be you, Yaku. It's
and it's continuing to go up.
Oh, okay. You might want to. I can screen share.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Share.
Yep, I'll do that.
Yeah, they're. Oh wait, apparently, it looks like maybe TKL is the same as well. But it's all good. But I can of course share my screen. I got you, Papi. I got you.
Whew. Yeah, glad to know that it's not just me in this case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it may even just be the server, like the Blizzard server even.
Yeah. Could be the routing, the undersea water cables.
It could be. So I'm just setting up the Discord streaming, and here we go. For the time being, we do see Dark going for a faster lair into a Roach Warren as well. I'm not necessarily going for a Roach Rush, but this time, unlike the previous game, he's not just going pure Ling Bane. He's going Ling into Roach. So again, a much more standard army composition here from Dark as well.
Yeah, one that will be much more ready to deal with the stalkers of Hero. Not neglecting banelings, however, still getting us +1 because, obviously, you do want your lings to deal the bulk of the damage, roaches clean up, and banelings, they're just useful overall.
They are just useful here as the oracles are going to be once again just pivoting around, getting quite a number of tumors here as well. I do apologize. I don't think my internet can actually handle streaming on OBS and also co-streaming on Discord.
Oof.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can handle that right now.
Well, it's fine. I'll radio cast.
Okay.
I'll use context clues.
Maybe I'll just solo cast this until you can join us in the next game.
All right.
We can say, yeah.
Yeah. I'll jump in now and then.
Actually, I think it can be okay for now. I'll keep an eye on the stability of the stream. For now, though, we are going to be coming in with our oracles. Roach is going to try to keep up. Dark, he's running 3 bases. 4th base is quite delayed, and Dark, he is amassing quite an amount of Roach and Ling here.
Yeah, quite a lot. Clutch cancel right in there from Dark. Doesn't lose minerals unnecessarily. Dark, as you said, just continuing to pump out more and more units. A lot of banelings on the way.
Yeah, 29 banelings in production. You don't make banelings for nothing, by the way. Dark, he's pushing. He's pushing out across map. Baneling speed is about to finish up as well, alongside +1. And Hero back at home. Can we defend? Can we hold on? We have shield batteries on the way, another weapon of Stalkers, but only Blink Stalkers to defend. There's no Colossus, there's no Immortals, there's no Disruptors, there's nothing else, only Stalkers.
Yeah. Not even any sentries or force fields. And of course the Oracles are across the map. A lot of them already used up their energy. Hero's gonna have to have the most precise blinks in the world to handle this.
And the Bane's taking it. Oh, they do avoid the mineral line. They're going for the Stalkers instead. Good blinks here from Hero. Does avoid a lot of that damage. Roaches are pushing through. Big connections here on the Stalkers, and a good chunk of Stalkers go down.
And Dark's continuing to pump out more lings where that came from. Roaches cleaning up quite a bit, but this is Oceanborn. There is a little bit of a longer rush distance. Hero still has a pretty healthy, still has a pretty decent Stalker count, I should say. It's not exactly healthy.
I mean,
but it's enough to chase Dark away.
Yeah, Dark, he has to back off. He does turn back around. He catches Hero again. The blink was a little bit too much. Hero does get called out, so a big overextension from our Protoss player. Stalkers are getting picked up, but here come reinforcements. And again, Dark, I do not believe he has enough to break Hero. Not anymore. Dark back at home. He's droning. Drones are going to be on the way.
That they are. And the scary thing here for Dark is that he wasn't able to get any economic damage earlier on.
Yeah, I think
he had an opportunity to go for the mineral line. He didn't go for it. He saw an opportunity to go for the throat, went for the throat, but he missed.
Yeah, the throat, it was thicker than we once thought it was. Here as Hero, he somehow defends. As you mentioned, he only lost like 4 probes. I think 4 or 5 workers went down. That was it. He still has a hefty Stalker count. We're going for a big counterattack. We have a double Robo on the way, a Bay on the way as well, and Dark is now in a little bit more trouble, but thankfully Dark is not over droning. He's still making more Ling Roach.
Yeah, we'll be able to have some defenses out here. Hero didn't have a warp prism for a very long time, so could only warp in back at home. Did mean that his counterattack was a little bit delayed, and that gives Dark enough breathing room to consolidate his mining and spend his larva on army units instead.
Exactly, and Hero, he has to back off. He has to wait for his robo to kick in. And here we go, making 2 Colossus at a time. Once they come out, Hero is going to be safe and sound. At the same time, harassing across the map with the Prism. But Dark doesn't care. Dark, he's committing. He's going for wave number 2.
And it's going to hit at least as hard. Hero looks like he might be in a better position to defend. He has the Oracles here, and he is utilizing them. Doesn't have as much static defense. No, the Banelings. They're trying to bust on through. Nope, doesn't think otherwise. Now going back into the mirror line.
Oh yeah, Banelings, they are crashing in. Probes are going down. 11 workers go down, and one more Baneling does not make it in. That was a clutch warp in there from Hero. Very close defense, and Hero holds on, but Hero loses his 4th. The 4th Nexus did go down.
Yeah, either way, Dark's getting damage done. And he's teching up behind all of this. Infestation Pit now on the way. He's looking to get his final phase of tech.
Yeah, with the pits, we can go into Hive Tech, we can go into Vipers more importantly, but what's scary here is that the Colossus have arrived. Finally, the Colossus, they have arrived for Hero, and he's waiting for a quadruple Colossus timing here. We have the 3rd and 4th Colossus on the way. Once they come out, Hero can push, and Dark doesn't have the best economy. He's only on 66 drones. This entire time, he's been on a 3-base economy, and as a result, it takes him a little bit longer to remax, a little bit longer to max out.
Yeah, and we can see how much he's slowing down here when it comes to his production. That's just as a result of him not having that many workers to mine.
Yeah, exactly. Not the largest of economies to work with, and now Hero is going for his counterattack. We spoke about it. He has reached that critical mass of Colossus. He has reached that 4 Colossus timing.
And he's looking to make use of it. Still warping in more and more Stalkers behind all of this, obviously, as not only do they provide a good buffer for the Colossus, but they also are kind of the bulk damage dealer of this army.
They are. Meanwhile, Bailey Runback comes in, and we get into the middle line. 12 probes go down at the same time. The main armies are clashing. Colossus are going down.
Ooh. Yeah, really good of Dark to be able to isolate these Colossus. 3 of them fall. And last time I checked, like, 1 is fewer than 4.
Yeah.
Hero no longer has that critical mass.
Yeah, he's down to 1 Colossus. The Stalker survived, but at what cost? At the cost of the Colossus, he's down to 1. And now Dark is remaxing. You can see the reinforcements of Dark are coming in. 1 Colossus not going to be good enough. Has to pull back. Big Stasis, though. Oh my god, catching most of the Lings.
Yeah, once again, Stasis coming in clutch, catching the vast majority of Dark's Ling count.
Yeah, the vast majority do get caught out. We do go for a big warping of sentries to reinforce. Force fields are thrown down. There's only 1 Ravager, so the force fields are king. Good juggling with the Colossus. You know what? He might only have 1, but he's keeping it alive.
Ling!
Oh god!
Yeah, keeping it alive. Absolutely clutch, but the Lings came off of cooldown right on top of the Colossus, was able to take it out. And with the Colossus falling, the backbone of Hero's army is no longer there. He has also bled out so many probes in that Baneling run by as well, that Dark is in absolutely fantastic position right now.
He is. Hero has 60 workers. Now he's down to 45. That was a brutal loss for Hero. He's been unable to remax, unable to rebuild, and Hero's on the back foot. He has a lot of catching up to do. He is going to be harassing with some of Epstein. He is getting some drone kills, which is a good start. Don't get me wrong, but Dark, he's going to be able to rebuild that much faster.
Yeah, which he already is. It's well on the way to remaxing the rest of his army.
Yeah, he's back up to now 72 workers, so now Dark has a good economy here. He's on 4 bases. Likewise, keeping up with the drop play. Baneling run on the right-hand side. This time, Hero, he will shut it down. And Hero, he's not out of this yet by any means, but again, he's stuck at home. 0 Colossus remaining. Is going to Disruptors. It's a really risky army composition here for Hero.
Yeah, he's really gonna have to hope that his control is absolutely on point, which, knowing Hero, usually it is.
Up! Oh my god.
The best Purification Novas and the best Blinks. That was so close. A couple more hits from that Queen, and that Warp Prism would have gone down. The entire map control of Hero would have been forfeit.
Yeah, and you know what? Your control with Disruptors may be good, but we have Vipers. We have Yoinks available as well to help deal with said Disruptors. First Nova goes off. We have 1 Nova behind this, and we're just waiting for it to come off. A good snipe here on the Viper. Viper does go down. We're down to 1 Viper left here for Dark, and ooh, the Prism gets powerbombed.
Well, that's finally dealt with here. A lot of micro potential gone now from Hero. A lot of counter attack potential also going down. Lings, Banes crash into just about everything here. The army, the mineral line, GG is called. Dark. We'll be taking game number 2. 10 upper series sideways 1-1.
Oh, GG, well played. Whew, congratulations here to Dark as he does tie things up. We do make a series out of this, and we can hopefully settle into this, and hopefully any kind of latency issues have cleared up, and Yaku, you can join us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've accepted the lobby invite.
Let's go. It's also the TKL might still be in the party. Yeah. Oh, okay, wait, we're good.
Oh, we're here.
Here, that means we can turn our cams back on. Beautiful. Whew. And yeah, we have a series. We have a series on our hands.
We do have a series on our hands. We have our banners back.
That's the most important part.
Yeah.
True.
And now we're gonna get in on this.
Yeah, game number 3 is going to be on site Delta here as our third game of choice. One of the more standard maps in the map pool compared to the other chaos that we have when it comes to like Post Youth or Dynasty or Ghost River, for example. Site Delta, one of the older maps in the map pool, is one that players embrace a little bit more.
Yeah, somewhere in between Ghost River and Oceanborn, I would say. Maybe a little bit closer to Oceanborn, but regardless, we're going to be continuing our series now on Site Delta, where we're here in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the top left. We have our red Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea. He, of course, is going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Dark.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the blue Protoss player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Hero.
Had a lot of craziness happen so far in our series. We're only 3 games in. Technically 2 games in, so this is the third and we're just starting it, but still. A lot of unorthodoxy coming down.
A lot of aggression from first in game 1 it was from Hero, in game 2 it was from Dark instead, and now we're settling into game 3. Is it time for both players to be hyper aggressive, or is it time for both players to calm things down and go for a much more kind of like stable macro game?
I would love to see both players work a rush each other.
You're an animal, Pat. You're an animal.
They meet in the middle of the map where there are no minerals to drill from. Or to use to drill, you know? Just chaos.
All you're saying right now is that you want them to work rush each other. You want there to be as little micro as possible. You want
Yeah!
you got something to ape into each other, Papi. Let's
Say
go.
move. A to make 'em, A to move 'em.
There you go. For now, we're settling in, and we have our standard builds, our standard openers. For the time being, it's a gate expanded cybercore here from Hero. We're just waiting for kind of our tech from Hero, really more than anything. You know, we've seen Stargate openers 2 games in a row, but he has done things a little bit differently with them in both game 1 and game 2.
Yeah. Little bit. Little different variants. I'm waiting for the Tempest.
So this is why you're a true classic fan. I don't know if you remember, but it was last year, last season of GSL, like kind of November, December. Classic, he was actually October, November, December. Classic was embracing Tempest Rush quite a bit, actually, in this matchup.
Yeah. In PvZ specifically.
Yeah, on Akiane.
Just utilizing the dead air to take out key tech, take out overlords as well. It's really bully your opponent.
Yeah, it is a build that has fallen out of fashion, unfortunately, but we see it pop up every now and then, and I'm sure it's something that Hero is more than willing to embrace at some point in this series. For now, though, it's going to be an Oracle. It's going to be an Oracle first from a Hero, going to be harassing across the map. Adept does shade in, but it looks like we are in position and we should get a kill.
on that Adept. Nicely done here. No drones. Yep, no drones going down. Hero got some scouting information, but I guess it's not really that much to scout this early on. This early on in the game.
Yeah, as we do see here, moving up with the Oracle, does get eyes on the Lings, is going to pull back to make sure that the third base is safe and sound and is not disrupted. At the same time, it's on Dark here to try to catch the Adept, to catch the Probe, to try and, again, disrupt the opener of Hero.
Yeah, anything he can do to keep Hero on his toes. Meanwhile, Dark does scout the Oracle. We'll be preparing back home for it.
Preparing, does get a drone here in between the bases, gets one at least, the Queen's in position, and we do manage to get quite a bit of damage. Oh, as we get 3 drones in total, the Oracle does barely escape.
Weakened, but still alive. Still able to provide its utility as the game continues. Hero, once again, grabbing his Forge, grabbing his Twilight Council. Looks to be Blink coming up from Hero once again.
Yeah, it should be +1 and Blink. You know, I can see the chat just caught up with you talking about pulling the boys. You know, I just want them to just butt heads with each other, Papi. No finesse. Let's go. Beautiful.
Like, no. Spray.
As StarCraft is meant to be played.
That's how it should be. I see no Yaku no. I remember the days of Milk saying that exact quote to me.
Oh no!
During coaching,
the Vietnam flashbacks of Milk just yelling at you. It's all good. You've grown. You've learned. And yeah.
I've learned not to argue with the person holding the chancla.
It's true. It's very true. Something we learned at a young age. But yeah, from here we do see Dark once again going to Roaches, who's going to be Ling Roach into Baneling. So pretty similar setups from game number 2 here, from what we just saw. Obviously we saw Dark cut workers and just mass up Ling Bane Roach and just push in towards the third base. But this time it looks like we're focusing a little bit more on droning, teching, and taking a fourth instead.
Yeah, a little bit of a difference this time coming up from Hero though. Instead of a Robo Bay, he's teching into getting a, in fact, I don't believe he has a Robo Facility at all. He's teching into a Templar Archives.
Yeah, let's go. So, instead of Colossus, we're going to be seeing Storm. It's going to be a Storm-based follow-up here from Hero. Archons and Storm, I should emphasize. And it is always quite a lot of fun. It is ideal against Lingbane Hydra. A little bit less so against Roaches, is what I will say. Roaches are a little bit more robust, and they are a little bit tankier here for our Zerg player.
Yeah. You know, conventional wisdom on dealing with Archons as a Zerg player, I believe on the Blizzard website as well, is literally, they say, get a couple of Roaches, rush into the Archon, and just one-shot it. Or two-shot it, something like that.
Could definitely see that on the horizon here. Dark, though, he's still droning, by the way. If you remember last game, he cut workers at 3-base saturation. This time, he's actually saturating his 4th. He's taking up into an infestation pit. We are getting into a longer game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the first game that we've seen so far that will actually get into the Hive stage. Into Hive Tech, into late-game Protoss as well. Potentially a Fleet Beacon.
Potentially, we'll see as Dark is being active. You can see he's just posturing. He's just trying to like fake out movements. Behind this, he's still droning. He's working on a hive. He's just trying to force an overreaction here from Hero as he is being active with his Roaches. Again, he does want to get rid of these eventually. You can see him pulling back. Eventually, want to refine our army and get into Hydra Lurker play.
Yeah. As the Hydra then just about finishes up, there's the Lurker, and we do have the Hive about halfway done as well. Just about lines up with this Lurker finishing up. Lurker then finishing up. He will be able to get his upgrades right on time.
Oh yeah, really nicely lined up there by Dark. Hero, meanwhile, Storm is done. Storm is done, so this is a very crisp timing here from Hero. He's pushing out as we speak. Can Dark hold on? He does have a good amount of Roaches, and will he avoid those Storms as he's setting up for a surround coming from behind?
Oh, the Templar, looking exposed! A couple of Lings do get on top of it. Storms do get popped. They will be able to deal with the Banelings, thankfully, but once again, Storms barely do anything against Roaches. His Archon will die the minute it fuses. Stasis Ward only able to catch 2 Lings. Plenty more where that came from here from Dark, and yeah, this attack from Hero just kind of fell on its face. Hero lost so much for nothing.
Exactly. Looking at the battle report here, Dark, he bled out Ling Bane and a handful of Roaches for High Templar, Stalkers, and Archons. A much more efficient trade here by Dark. And Hero, he has to just back off, lick his wounds, rebuild his High Templar. Looking at the units tab, we have 3 High Templar gathering energy, but basically Hero has lost all map control. And Dark is free to drone up to 80 and tech up into his Hydra Lurker Viper.
And that's pretty much the end stage of Zerg here in this matchup, and especially with how Dark has been teching. Hero going to be playing a lot of catch-up. He has a lot of workers, so his economy is looking fine. It's just tech-wise, he really needs to get that going.
Yeah, as Bailey's they get into the middle line as well. Big storm on the Lings. We do force back the army for now, but once again, Dark, a very efficient trade. He caught a lot of Stalkers, backs up, and once again maintains a map control. 9 Lurkers are on the way. Dark, he has made it. He survived until his Lurker attack.
And what's the answer for Lurkers here from Hero? He doesn't have any. He's getting 2 Robo facilities, but that feels too little too late.
Yeah, I mean, because he went into High Templar, it means that he has no Immortal production. He had no Robo, as you pointed out yourself, right? There was no Robo whatsoever for Hero, so he has no army to deal with this. Hero is in a lot of trouble, and Dark is pushing in.
He has hit his final form. He is just about maxed out, a little bit away off. But compared to Hero, who is on sub 130 supply, this is still much better for Dark. Really juicy Storms, however. Could be connecting with the vast majority of your army. Will be pretty much completely deleting the Ling count. But again, that's just Lings.
That was just Lings. And we did take down a good amount of Lurkers as well. I think there were 9 Lurkers. We're down to 3 Lurkers left, but 5 more in production. We can see Dark reinforcing. Hero diving on those Lurkers.
And we'll be able to, once again, pretty much reset the Lurker count. Only 2 of them remaining right now. 3 of them are on the way, but that's not really a lot. Dark relying heavily on his Lings and Hydras, but they can only do so much in a choke point versus Stalkers.
They can only do so much. We can see Hero, he gets intercepted by a Ling counterattack. Once again, we dive with Lurkers. 1 more Lurker goes down. We're down to 4 here on the front lines. And Hero is sneaking out another base. He's going for a 5th as we speak. So far, unscattered. Dark is unaware. If he was, he could deny it immediately. But for now, no eyes on this Nexus.
Yeah, no eyes, no spotters anywhere near that direction. Dark has been trying to just end the game when he's ahead, but he hasn't really been able to close it out, and as a result, Hero is doing little things here and there to keep him back in this game, to get himself back into trying to edge out an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big win here for Hero to get away with that Nexus. At the same time, Dark coming in for harassment towards the 3rd base. Bailey's rolling into the mineral line. Quick reaction out of Hero. He does save his probes.
Does save his probes, will save his cannon as well due to a very quick battery overcharge. He did pull most of his forces down south to deal with that though, so his 4th base over here in the north isn't as defended as it could be. 10 probes go down, but Dark still hasn't scouted the 5th.
Yeah, exactly. And now here we go. Hero going for his own counterattack. Revelation does get eyes on the Lurker. We do push in. At the same time, Roach is pushing out towards the south. Only 2 Roaches though, so Hero, he can deal with that with a handful of Warpins. He's focusing on his push, this time with Immortals.
Yeah, with Immortals, that's going to provide so much more of a buffer here, so much more defenses here in this attack coming out from Hero. Huge Storms, blanketing pretty much the entire Ling count. Banelings will never get a chance to even come close to connecting, and it looks like this 5th base of Dark is completely forfeit.
Yeah, the base is going to be going down. Lurkers are out of position. They cannot engage, not against this kind of army. Meanwhile, across the map, Hero did lose 15 probes, so he does take some economic losses himself, but he does have the base up and running. He can rebuild, he can remax, and Hero, he's not backing off. He has momentum on his side.
And he's looking to make full use of it. Dark already in a terrifying position, being down 1 base against his Protoss opponent.
Yeah, and here we go. We dive on in, and we do have some Lurkers, but what is it protecting Lurkers? We do force a lot of Archons. The Swine Shots were insane. Can Hero actually break this?
It looks like with enough Archons and with enough Immortals, he's gonna try. Has a huge concave on top of all of this, and just like so, Hero completely rolls over the entrenched position of Dark.
Yeah, nice spread there from Hero. He avoids the splash damage. GG gets called, and Hero, he breaks through the line of lurkers and takes a 2-1 lead.
Just like so, Hero's on match point in a game which really looked like Dark was gonna win. After the first attack from Hero kind of fell on its face, after he lost all of his High Templar and most of his Stalkers, without getting any damage done really, that was Dark's game to lose. And he lost it.
That's, couldn't have put it better myself. I 100% agree. I mean, Dark, he had an amazing fight early on, as you mentioned, with the surround on the High Templar. He shut them all down. He gained momentum. He got into lurker tech. He droned up past past 4 base saturation. Dark was in a good position there, but his initial 9 lurker push left much to be desired. That's when things swung in favor of Hero, where Dark pushed him with his 9 lurkers and he lost 6 of them immediately. He unfortunately pushed in before he had enough support for his lurkers, and Hero was able to take an insane fight, and from that moment, Hero suddenly got control back in that game.
And all it takes is a little bit of control for Hero to completely turn the tables, flip the entire script, and win games that really win games that you would look at and think, there's no way. There is absolutely no way he can claw himself back from this position.
Oh, yeah.
It was, for a while, I think, 80 or 90 supply. He was down 80 or 90 supply for quite some time in that game.
Oh yeah, he was, and he was able to bounce back in a very impressive fashion, and now suddenly Hero is 1 game away from becoming this week's ESL Open Cup Asia champion.
Indeed, he is, but will he get it? There's somebody who's going to try to stop him from getting it, to say the least. Over here at the top right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way to the top right-hand corner of Alcyone. We have our blue Zerg player, this time blue, not red, our blue Zerg player coming out from the land of Korea is, of course, going to be representing Talon Esports. We have Dark.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player representing CranKy Z Gaming, the best Protoss in Korea, arguably the best Protoss in the world, 1 game away from winning it all. Will it all end here and now? It is Hero.
There we go. Pretty standard maps after Ghost River, honestly.
Yeah.
And Ghost River was our one crazy map that we've had so far, and after that, Alcyone, Side Delta, Oceanborn, very standard macro maps.
100%, I agree. So, I mean, the vetoes did make sense. Because it's a best of 5, you have less vetoes, and again, Ghost River was one of those crazier maps that did make it through. As you were mentioning, Alcyone is one of the more, or is, I would say, the most standard map in the map pool. The most, I should say, macro-oriented map in the map pool. There are still ways to really spice things up with the gold base, for example. We have seen Dark more than once rush into this gold and go for an all-in, but has opted not to in this game.
Yeah, not when he's behind and his opponent's on match point, and it's an opponent who is very familiar with him and what he likes to do.
100%. So doesn't want to take that risk, and we are going to be settling into, I imagine, a more longer game. I say that it didn't quite go Dark's way in that previous game, so you might want to take a different approach. The problem is it's difficult. It's so difficult to be aggressive and to go for all-ins on Alcyone just because of how defendable it is, because of all these ramps, because of the defensive position here at the 3rd and 4th base locations. It's why it does typically go to longer games.
Yeah, except in the rare cases where walls are not walls.
True.
And we just saw a very long ZVP on this map in Dark versus Stats earlier today. That's definitely an example of something you can do. Of course, in that game, Dark kind of rushed into a hive and was able to keep Stats on his toes, keep Stats over defending a little while, to the point where by the time he did push out, he really wasn't able to put any sort of dent in Dark's momentum.
Exactly, and with that, we are going to be settling into our three-way setup here, side of Dark. Meanwhile, bottom left, Hero just going for a gate expander. Once again, a Stargate opener from our Red Protons.
Yeah, Oracle first, but eventually we're going to get the Tempest, I imagine.
Oh yeah,
That's all I want.
just make Yaku happy. Make the Tempest, man. Make the Tempest.
Just work or rush each other.
You're an animal. You're an absolute animal. Shaking my head. From here, though, again, we're just getting into our third. It should be triple Oracle into a +1 Blinkstalker-based army composition. We'll see if Hero does end up skipping the Forge or going into a different tech structure. At the same time, Hero dives into the third.
We'll be able to pick off quite a number of drones with his 2 Adepts and this 1 Oracle for back. That provides a little bit of backup, even catching one of the drones that we're transferring over from the main base. 7 of them, which is pretty significant this early on.
Oh yeah, very significant here. 7 drones go down, and the Oracles did survive as well. They're going to be able to generate that energy, come back in for a second round. Third Oracle's in production, third base is safe and sound. Hero, he has momentum on his side already here in the early game, and we'll see if he can get even more damage done.
Yeah, well, he's going to try. He does deny the tumors, which is nice. Will prevent a little bit of extra mobility here from Dark. This is the Hero Oracle control I love to see. Gets 6 drones, makes it out of here. One of these Oracles literally on 1 health.
That's on 1 HP Oracle. Aye, does barely escape. We still have 2 more behind it. We have the Adepts on the ground. Look at the units lost tab. 13 drone kills so far. This is getting out of hand. This is becoming a bit too much. Now, Dark is still droning. He is not going for an all-in as a response. But here, he's not done. He still wants more damage.
That's 4 gateways on the way.
That is 4 gates on the way. I mean, Hero will keep it on that gateway count if it goes even higher, because Hero, he has been known, if he is able to deal enough damage early on, he will go for 3-base all-in. 100%.
Yeah, might as well. He has some momentum, and he might as well utilize it. 7 more drones go down, 8 more, 9 more.
God.
This is starting to get game ending.
Oh, aye. With only just the harass, by the way, finally 1 Oracle falls. That's 23 drones going down. Hero takes a worker lead, it takes an economic lead. The question becomes, what does Hero do with this advantage? He's throwing down shield batteries. It looks like Hero, he's assuming there's going to be an all-in. You can see here a big reaction, a big defensive setup here. Hero assuming that Dark would respond with an all-in, but that is not happening. Dark is droning.
Yeah, trying to recoup his losses. I do have to imagine that the hero is well aware of how Dark likes to play when he's behind, and I'm sure he's anticipating that counterattack, but it's not coming. Hero now a little bit suspicious, decides he can afford to be a little bit more active on the map with these stalkers.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a win for Dark. For Hero to overreact a little bit here to just assuming that Dark would respond. And I don't blame him, because we have seen Dark go for all ins when he falls behind. 100%. It happens time and time again. Not this time, but Hero's just getting ready for it. And now he's taking the goal base. And I love this. Again, Dark can't really do much about this. He's droning. He doesn't have a ground army. There's no way to punish the goal.
None whatsoever. What, you gonna set out Lings? Lings aren't gonna do anything.
Exactly, not against what Hero has. Goes for some revelations, trying to get eyes on the saturation, sees that there's no additional gases here at the third base, confirms that a lair is indeed on the way. I imagine we're going to be going into Ling Hydra. If I'm not mistaken, there is no Roach Warren, so Ling Hydra or Ling Muta, one or the other, going to be on the way for Dark.
Yeah, there's no Roach Warren, and the gas counts are relatively low, so Hydra then it is. There we go. No, that's an infestation pit.
Yo, Ling Bane into Ultra. You called it before, if you remember. Was it like game 1 or game 2?
It did. It was, I think it's in a series against Stats.
Oh yeah, I think it was the last series. I mean, you spoke about how Darky likes to go into that.
Yeah. Or no, maybe it was Dark versus someone. Maybe it was Dark versus Shin.
I don't think you would have said it in a series
I don't.
against Shin.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any
I
sense.
don't think I would have said that in a ZVZ. Yeah.
But yeah, it looks to be the case here. Dark, so he's staying on Ling Bane. There's the hide that we spoke about, and Dark, this does look like he wants to go into Ultras instead. It's a bit of a greedy style here, and it does mean that Hero can do whatever he wants. He's already saturated on this gold, and now he's taking another next behind this.
He's playing super greedy. But he can afford to play greedy because Dark is allowing him to.
I'm pretty sure you said it in the series against Stats on this map. I remember. Yeah.
That's what it was. I think eventually we did see Ultras.
We did. Yeah. That's why I remember it.
But
We
very
did eventually see
end,
it.
Yeah.
As here we go, Ling Bane rolling in. Good save strats with the Bailings. They keep on waddling forward. Unfortunately, there is no Bailing speed, and they cannot keep up with the Stalkers.
Yeah, here we're just gonna continue to pick away at this Zerg army. Blink away at the first sign of trouble. Now Stasis Ward does get popped. Hero so far in the series has made excellent use of his Stasis Wards. But can he keep it up eventually? Will it not work out?
I mean, these have been very efficient trades here by Hero. He's doing so damn well with the stasis traps, with his blink control as well. Ling Bane, we are bleeding out. Lings, they try to come in first round. We do bait out the stasis at least, but there are barely any baitings. They crash into the Zealots. Now it's pure Ling.
And when it's pure Ling, it's a party.
For Hero, for the Protoss.
For Protoss, yeah.
A couple of baitings do roll in, and we do get some good connections with the Zealots, but regardless, we're still reinforcing. Some of the Zealots did still survive, and Hero, he's not stopping, he's not slowing down, warping in from back at home at that gold. Hive did complete. We have Adrenal on the way, but where is that Ultra Cavern? We can't afford it. Oh.
That we cannot, yeah. Dark spent most of his gas on upgrades and banelings that aren't really doing that much damage in the fight.
Yeah, and Hero is snowballing out of control. Big stasis once again, creating SimCity, creating a choke point here for the Banelings to rush into. Zealot run back towards the left-hand side, and Dark just cannot keep up. We're pushing towards the right-hand side. The Queens are looking a little bit more vulnerable as well. And here comes the killing blow. Here come the Archons.
Yeah, without anything to buffer for them, without any roaches even, that's going to be all she wrote. The Archons were the final nail in the coffin, as you said. GG is called, and Hero will be taking that series 3-1, becoming our ESL Open Cup Asia number 227 champion. Oh, no! Okay.
Oh, God. Poppy.
Okay,
Are you good?
It's fine. It's fine. I dropped my phone, but I dropped my phone on the soft wood and not the hard floor. On the soft wood of my table and not the hard tile of my floor.
Fun fact, you were off camera during that, so they did not see what was going on. You just freaked the hell out. I was like, oh my god.
My phone is fine, and I still don't need a cover for it.
Just get a cover, Papi. Get a cover.
I have a cover. I don't use it.
Put it on. What's wrong with you? Oh my god. GG, well played. Congratulations here. Hero is going to be our champion, as you said. Again, very powerful play. This last game was brutal, by the way. Again, there was nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy when it came to the build itself. It was a standard build out of Hero, but he killed 23 drones. His Oracle Harass, his Adept Harass is like no other, and with that Hero, he takes it all in a very impressive fashion. GG.
Indeed, he does. GG. Dark did make him work for it. You know, Dark was fighting very hard. There were definitely a lot of moments, especially in those last two games, where it really looked like Dark had an opportunity, where he really had the ball in his court. But unfortunately, Hero, he's able to just come in and swipe that ball right from under you.
He is, and yeah, with that, congratulations to Hero. My condolences to Dark, but I mean, he still makes it all the way to the finals. It was still a great finals as well between our two players, very chaotic, and I feel like we got to see a lot of different facets of Zerg versus Protoss. Hope you all enjoyed it back at home, and yeah, that's gonna spell the end here of ESL Open Cup Asia tonight.
Yeah. It'd be concluding our very stacked bracket with a pretty close finals, I would say. If you weren't quite able to catch all of the series that were played out, whether on this channel or on some of the other channels like Beowulf or Wardies, I do encourage you to check them out because we had some very exciting games. Some very exciting matches, very close ones as well coming down.
Oh yeah, really close games there, do recommend. And if you want some more StarCraft action, if you want some more CranKy Ducklings, we're going to be live tomorrow with the Club NVX Duckling Showdown. We have taken like a month hiatus with that tournament, with the show matches. A big reason for that was because of the WTL qualifiers and the GSL qualifiers and everything coming together. So a lot of the Korean players were focusing on, on said qualifiers and other events. But now we can come back with our show matches.
Indeed, we can. Oh, it's been quite a while. I can't wait. Do we know what the theme of tomorrow's show match is going to be?
Yeah, we know it's nothing crazy, like no crazy like round robin, like 3 groups sort of thing like we have in the past. It's as we make our return, stock standard here. It's going to be one series, a best of 7 between Creator and Bunny.
Ooh, nice little bit of TVP going on there. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one. Bunny, pretty well known for being a very good TVP player. Creator, I would say PVT, not quite his strong suit, but he's still a player who really knows how to prepare against specific opponents, especially against a player like Bunny, he is very familiar with. I'm sure he'll be whipping out something special against him.
Oh yeah, I am excited for that series. I just saw that it was actually just posted on Discord as well. We do have the tweet going, so you can share it if you wish. And yeah, I mean, we saw that Bunny, we didn't catch the games ourselves, but we saw in the bracket Bunny did go to the ace match against Hero in a best of 3. So it might bode well for him coming up against Creator. Likewise, we don't see enough of Creator nowadays. Like, it's one of those things where I would love to see more of him in these online tournaments. And yeah, the showdown, it's going to be a banger tomorrow, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to be able to witness that.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing chat catch up with me dropping my phone. It's fine. Can't confirm it's fine. I've put my cover on it now. I don't really need to, but I don't think my cover really does much to protect it. But yeah, it would if I didn't have a separate cover for the camera.
Fair enough. With that, we are wrapping up for tonight. We're wrapping up here for tonight. We are done for our Monday evening of StarCraft. As a reminder, ESL Open Cup Europe is starting up in a couple of hours. We won't be casting it here on the CranKy Ducklings, but I'm sure many others will be. Casters like Wardy or Rotterdam, Zombie Grub as well. They usually do cover the European Open Cup instead. That's going to be in 3 hours, so make sure you tune into that. ESL Open Cup Americas is going to be tomorrow in 10 hours time. We're not going to be covering that live. We're going to be covering that via replays. That's at least going to be the plan here on the CranKy Ducklings.
Yeah, they're going to be live because it starts very, very early, but later in the afternoon, perhaps. Yeah. Or, Wednesday, Thursday. If we have a free day where we don't have something planned, that's going to be the replays.
Exactly. 100%. It is going to be that replay cast in the coming days. Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thanks so much for the support. Yaku, do you have anything you want to say before we head off for the night? Any wisdom to impart upon us?
Don't lick lurkers unless they consent.
Okay, thank you for that, Yaku. Thank you. It's wisdom from personal experience, I'm sure. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All the socials, all the CranKy Ducklings, everywhere. We're also on our YouTube channel. We're post-streaming there as we speak. VODs are available instantly on YouTube under the live tab. Otherwise, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi.
Hasta la vista, bella.